Good evening and welcome to the Charleston Civic Center, where tonight it's the battle for bragging rights. The only two Division I teams in the state of West Virginia will meet when Marshall takes on 21st ranked West Virginia in the Chesapeake Energy Capital Classic. Thanks very much for joining us alongside Marshall, along Frank Gardenia, and WVU Hall of Famer Warren Baker. I'm Rob King. Frank, let's start with you. This is one of those classic throw out the records for each team. 13 of the last 16 games have been decided by 10 points or fewer. 2 overtime games in that stretch as well.
Yeah, a lot of close games in this series. Now, Marshall is a heavy underdog coming into this game, but that hadn't deterred the enthusiasm of head coach Dan D'Antoni. He's eager to see how his team in a rebuilding mode matches up against this very solid West Virginia team.
And West Virginia, 21st ranked team in the country. Warren, Marshall's lost 5 in a row, but the Mountaineers have to know this is not just a normal non-conference game.
Well, after a very lackluster start against Northern Kentucky last week, Bob Huggins got his team's attention at halftime. I look for a much more energetic and enthusiastic Mountaineer club this afternoon.
All right, let's take a look at the players to watch for each team. For the Thundering Herd of Marshall, it's sophomore forward Ryan Taylor.
He's a very versatile player. D'Antoni says he is by far their most accomplished player. He can score inside. He also can put the ball on the floor and score outside. He can be physical, can be a good defender as well. Very good all-around player. He has to stay out of foul trouble. Sometimes has to try and do too much. They need him on the floor tonight.
For West Virginia, they're led again by preseason Big 12 Player of the Year, Juwan State.
Well, Juwan's off to a good start, leading the Mountaineers to an 8-1 record. He's the scoring leader. He's the leader in assists. He's second in steals, playing 8 minutes less a game this year than he did last year. If he can continue it up, it could be a very special season for the Mountaineers.
So it is the 43rd meeting between these in-state rivals, Marshall and West Virginia, dating back to the 1928-29 season. These two teams will tip it off from the Charleston Civic Center next, here on Root Sports.
Crossroads Chevrolet is celebrating Christmas early this year during our 12 days of Christmas sale. On the third day of Christmas, Crossroads Chevrolet gives to you a 2014 Chevy Cruze LS for just $16,888. 12 deals, 12 vehicles, 12 incredible days. Get to Crossroads Chevrolet now for our Truckmas Blowout. All 2014 and 2015 trucks are priced to go. Crossroads Chevrolet, top of the hill just off Route 19 in Bradley.
At United Bank, we began our banking tradition 175 years ago. Today, we're one of the nation's largest bank holding companies with $12 billion in assets and over 130 offices in 5 states and Washington, D.C. We take pride that we live and work in the communities we serve. We're involved in local events, charities, and businesses, and making a difference in thousands of lives every day. United Bank, at your service.
We asked what random acts you would do if you won money from the West Virginia Lottery. Shaquan Taylor told us she would pay off her sister's college tuition. When Shaquan's idea was drawn, we were thrilled to help make it happen.
We won the Random Acts Lottery.
What? Oh my God! What a crowd taping!
What would your random act of lottery be if you won? Keep playing. You could make it real.
And then Santa's worker zapped it right to our house. And that's how they got it here.
Cool.
The magic of the season is here at the Lexus December to Remember sales event. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Before the puck drops, our crew will give you everything you need to know to be ready for game action, including the last word from Coach Mike Johnston. Penguins pregame, presented by Heritage Valley Health Systems on Root Sports.
Welcome back to the Charleston Civic Center. Let's take a look at the lineups for each team. Shek Sane, Ryan Taylor, Alex Nikolic, Justin Edmonds, and Austin Loop for the Marshall Thundering Herd. And they are coached by alumni Dan D'Antoni, his first season as the Marshall head coach. We have 2 in-state coaches coaching their alma maters. Don't see that very often. Dan D'Antoni will lead the Thundering Herd against West Virginia. Let's take a look at their starting lineup for Coach Bob Huggins. And they are led by Devin Williams, Jonathan Holton, and a 3-guard attack of Jay Sean Page, Juwan Staten, and Daxter Miles Jr. The Mountaineers will play as many as 12, maybe 13 players tonight with a full-court pressing style. And in a suit in his 7th season as West Virginia head coach Bob Huggins Natalie attired Warren Baker.
Well, I got on him about that uniform earlier today, and I like to see Huggins in the suit occasionally. He wears those warm-ups out.
Well, we have a delay. It looks like one of the cheerleaders fell as we take a look at the officials here. We'll be calling today's game. So they're going to tend to her along the far baseline here. Now an explanation for head coach Dan D'Antoni, 1970 graduate of Marshall. And Frank, I'm sure a lot of excitement down in Huntington, West Virginia with the announcement that Dan D'Antoni would be leaving the NBA, where he coached with his younger brother Mike for so many years, and would become the head coach at his alma mater.
I don't know about you guys, but he's 67 years old. He looks pretty darn good.
Yes, he does.
I mean, I don't know where he's drinking the fountain of youth from, but he looks really, really good. He was a great high school player at Mullins, which was a tremendous basketball town. Marshall fans are very happy to have him back. I mean, and I've told him before, you kind of look like, it's almost like when Bob Huggins got the West Virginia job, and you felt like, you know, this is where he belongs. That's the way you feel with Danny D'Antoni at Marshall. You feel like, Danny, you're back where you should have been probably 30 years ago. He's at great peace with being there, really enjoying it. He's got a major rebuilding job, but still enjoying what he's doing and still enjoying the challenge.
And here is his resume. And again, coached for just a couple of seasons as a Marshall assistant coach. Did not coach younger brother Mark. Well, I think he was on that freshman team, if I'm not mistaken. 66 through 70, was an outstanding player. Then he goes on and coaches in Myrtle Beach for 30 seasons, wins over 500 games, then joins Mark D'Antoni first as a Phoenix Suns assistant coach, then with the New York Knicks, then on with the LA Lakers, and now back here. You know, I asked him earlier this week about what I think a lot of people think of it with the D'Antonis as a European style of playing. He said, hey, that's the way we played back in Marshall when I was a player back there. We've refined that a little bit. It's a misnomer to call it a European style. It's really old Marshall basketball that they brought to the NBA level and now back to Huntington, West Virginia.
And a little bit goes all the way back, I think, to their days in the Coalfields of Mullins basketball as well, which was, as Bakers, you know, was always kind of up-tempo, flying around,
sure,
you know, high-scoring, run-and-gun basketball throughout the Coalfields. That's what the Southern West Virginia Coalfields were known for, and they had great athletes and great players everywhere, and it goes back to those days also.
Well, you know, and talking with Dan today, one of the things that was so impressive about him, not only the basketball, but the character that he's letting these kids see and trying to instill. You know, be polite in the restaurants, do the things that young men need to do when you're representing a university. So not only is he teaching X and O's, but life skills as well.
All right, let's go over to Robbie Inns-Mikowski. Robbie?
Well, you know, the cheerleaders do a lot of things here before the game and get the crowd and the band, everybody kind of pumped up a little bit. Well, a cheerleader was injured during one of those pregame stunts. The good news is that it does not appear to be a serious injury. They're taking precautionary measures by tending to the female cheerleader right now. So hopefully that is the case and it isn't anything serious. But that is why the start of this game has been delayed, Rob, Warren, and Frank.
All right, Robbie, thank you very much for that in mind. We will step away to take a short break as we continue to get you ready for West Virginia and Marshall at the Charleston Civic Center, the Chesapeake Energy Classic on Root Sports. Darius Kasparaitis was a perfect fit in a city that loves tough defensive players. His hard-hitting style made him a fan favorite, but it was a rare goal in overtime of Game 7 of the 2001 Eastern Conference semifinals against Buffalo, for which he might be best remembered.
Taking over on the play is Robert Lang. He's got a trigger. Here's Kasparaitis. Twisting one. He shoots and scores. The Pittsburgh Penguins have won the series in overtime. Darius Kasparaitis. And ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building.
Including the playoffs, it was one of just 17 goals that Kasparaitis scored in his 6 years in Pittsburgh. But Kaspar's goal remains one of the greatest and most improbable in Penguins history. At the Charleston Civic Center in Charleston, West Virginia. Again, a delay to the start of this afternoon's onto this evening's game between the West Virginia Mountaineers, ranked 21st in the country, and the Thundering Herd of Marshall, who've lost 5 in a row. But we mentioned, in this series, 13 of the last 16 decided by 10 points or fewer. 2 of those games have gone into overtime. Had an excellent game last year on Root Sports between these two teams. There's head coach Bob Huggins and not normally wearing the suit, but after the team lost, right, Warren, he went to the suit, and now that he's been in the suit one time, he's probably going to keep it on until the team loses a game.
I just hope he has more than one.
All right, let's go over once again to Robbie Inzbikowski, the fourth member of our broadcast team tonight. Robbie.
Well, you look at Marshall, and they had a head coaching change over the past offseason, and it's Dan D'Antoni who has now taken over the reins. One of 4 D'Antoni siblings. 3 of the 4 went to Marshall University. And here he is. You see some vintage pictures of Dan D'Antoni. You might know the name Mike D'Antoni, a former head coach of the Denver Nuggets, New York Knicks, and Los Angeles Lakers as recently as last season. Well, Dan was an assistant with Mike in New York and also L.A., and here he is taking over the reins. Now, sister Kathy is here supporting her brother Dan. She's the oldest of the 4 siblings, and I asked her what it meant to have Dan D'Antoni coming back to his alma mater and coaching this team. She said, it is a dream come true, and it is an amazing thing for our family. Even if it is at this stage in his life and his career in his mid-upper 60s, it's still a cool thing. Obviously, he has a tall task, guys, to turn the fortunes of this franchise around. However, it's a nice thing for the D'Antoni family to have him back in Huntington, West Virginia, coaching the Thundering Herd.
Yep, you have Mike, you have Dan, you have Mark, a great basketball-playing family. Don't forget Louis D'Antoni, a member of the West Virginia Hall of Fame, getting set to celebrate his 101st birthday later on this month. We'll be back with more right after this.
Right up, right up. Cross, cross.
Right winger Blake Como's mic'd up in the Pens OT game against the Isles. And Pascal Dupuis discusses his latest health scare and shares his family's reaction to the news and much more.
You have to think of yourself and your family and your loved ones before hockey.
That and more on In the Room, Monday after postgame on Root Sports.
West Virginia basketball is on Root Sports. With all the best drives. In-your-face throwdown. And greatest game winners. Here. West Virginia basketball is on Root Sports.
Larry Murphy was in his 13th NHL season when the Pens acquired him from Minnesota in the 1990-91 season. He helped guide the team to their first 2 Stanley Cup championships, part of 4 titles he'd won in his 21-year career. He retired with an NHL record, since broken, of games played by a defenseman. Murphy is a member of the Pens Ring of Honor and was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. No question who the leader of the West Virginia Mountaineers is. It is senior point guard Juwan Staten, the Big 12 Conference preseason player of the year. Last year he led the Big 12 in scoring and was named to the All-12 first team, also the All-Big 12 defensive team. And you take a look at the numbers that he racks up: points, rebounds, assists. The first player in school history to put those numbers up in his first season, in one season as a Mountaineer. So Juwan Staten can clearly do everything. Again, playing about 8 fewer minutes per game this year because of the depth of this Mountaineer team, and that is a big task for the Thundering Herd tonight. As we get underway, it's going to be out of bounds, and it will be Marshall basketball. Justin Edmonds will inbound for the Thundering Herd. They hand off to the big point guard, Alex Nikolic. Tried to go backdoor there. First turnover of the game.
Well, he has to be careful with turning the basketball over. That's a real concern for Marshall against West Virginia tonight. That time that was kind of an unforced error.
And that's the ones you need to avoid because they're going to force their share.
Right.
Nice dump down pass. And Page lost the handle.
Yeah, you're going to be turnover prone with that double teaming and trapping and pressing anyway. You don't want to have many unforced errors.
Now the pressure. Nikolic needed that long 7-foot wingspan to bring that down. Austin Loop getting in deep Holton the other way for the Mountaineers. Devin Williams will be called for a travel, so 2 quick turnovers for the Mountaineers.
Well, that's John Holton's fault. He's got to find a guard to get that basketball to. 2 problems there. John, a big guy, really handling the ball, and Devin Williams in too tight. You've got to get some space there. They were too close together. That's a tough pass for a big guy to handle.
That turnover goes to the big guy, but you put him in a bad spot. That's not fair to him, is it?
No, not at all.
Good catch by Sané, but then stripped inside by Jay-Sean Page. And let's take a look, Frank, at your keys to the game for Marshall.
Well, one thing the Thundering Herd has to do, they have to handle the pressure, which we talked about earlier. They got to make free throws. They did not do that against Penn State. They missed 18 of them. And they have to stop West Virginia's dribble drive. Not allow easy baskets inside.
Foot race here. Staten wins that. Gets out in front of Taylor. And Ryan Taylor, great recovery, but they will call the goaltend. Taylor said, hey, what about the tug of my jersey?
Well, I think Dan D'Antoni's happy that he didn't pick up the foul here. He did avoid the foul, tried to block the shot from behind, got there late.
Sané all by himself. Spins in the left-handed layup for the native of Senegal.
Well, West Virginia will give up some cheap ones. They gamble a lot early. That time, Marshall doing a good job finding Sané inside for that layup.
Well, Dan D'Antoni believes the best way to attack a team that attacks you defensively is to attack on offense. That's what they did on that possession.
Here's Holton. Now to Gary Brown, who's checked in. And Daxter Miles Jr. off the mark. So Gary Brown, a quick substitute for Jay-Sean Page. Pick and roll, Sané in trouble, out to Luke for 3, and he is an excellent shooter. Knocks that down, Austin Luke, 37% from three-point range on the season.
So that's why he's on the floor. Great standing shooter. Tried to score off the dribble drive earlier, didn't get there, but he can knock down the open jumper.
Devin Williams from 18 feet off the mark. Rebounded Justin Edmonds.
It's okay for Devin Williams to take that shot. The thing is, though, it always takes his offensive rebounding away when he shoots that shot.
Ryan Taylor off the mark. Was posing there for a moment. Looked like he thought he made it. Bob Huggins unhappy with a lot that he has seen early on. Here's Staten left-handed layup. Williams with the rebound. And Williams has it stripped away. Boy, Nikolic really had no idea where he wanted to go with that pass. Another turnover, another one of those unforced errors, Frank.
It looked like he lost the handle on the basketball, like it was slippery right before he threw it, didn't get anything on it.
Oh, nice feed from Daxter Miles Jr. into Devin Williams and a chance for a three-point play.
Well, the thing that Daxter Miles did was so good just now. He didn't panic when he got down low. You know, a lot of guys get in there and they start fumbling with the basketball. He took his time and found Devin Williams for the layup and the possible 3.
Let's take a look, Warren, now at your keys to the game.
Well, you got to match the intensity. Marshall's going to come out and play hard, pound the glass at both ends, make them work, and then improve on the half-court efficiency. Bob Huggins has not been happy with West Virginia's half-court offense.
Williams hits the free throw, completes a three-point play. Elijah Macon will check in for him. Javon Carter is also into the game for the Mountaineers.
Now when Carter comes in, sometimes it seems like that intensity defensively goes up. Marshall will have to try to handle that.
He's also been able to supply some quick offense for this Mountaineers team. Taylor loses the ball off his foot, out of bounds. It'll be turned over to the Mountaineers, and the turnovers piling up already for the Thundering Herd as Nathan Adrian checks in for Jonathan Holton. 4 turnovers for Marshall in the first 3 minutes and 8 seconds.
And again, most of those have not really been forced by pressure. They've just not protected the basketball very well.
You're right, careless. That was off the foot just now. That was a careless turnover. We've seen a couple of those.
We saw this morning at the shoot-around, Chris Duhon really got all over the Thundering Herd for what he thought was lackadaisical work in the shoot-around. Rebound comes down to Javon Carter, so I think we're seeing some of that spilling over here early on in the game. Not very sharp, Marshall, with the basketball right now. 20 on the shot clock. In to make it. Elijah Macon cleared some space, gets the layup. Mountaineers have a 2-point lead. All 7 West Virginia points coming following Marshall turnovers. And Nathan Adrian will be called for a foul well away from the basket. Early on, the Mountaineers leading the Marshall Thundering Herd 7-5. Chesapeake Energy Capital Classic.
During the Suddenlink Faster, Better, Easier Switch event, get internet 5 times faster than DSL. That outranks its competitors in speed and satisfaction, according to PC Mag. And get TV with free HD. Plus, access your Netflix account with TiVo from Suddenlink. Call 877-566-3401 today and enjoy 15 meg internet and TV together for only $59 a month. Plus, add phone for just $10 more a month. This way to get more for less. Only from Suddenlink.
I'm attorney Bobby Warner. Because of our success, we've been able to help many people in our community. Our Booster Seat initiative, our Warner Gives Back campaign, and my foundation, Beyond the Backyard, are just a few of the ways we help others. For more information about our community initiatives, visit us online or just give us a call. I'm Bobby Warner. If now's the time, call 345-6789.
Bobby Warner, now's the time. Call 345-6789.
Everyone talks about the Cloud like it's some magical place. This is the Cloud. It makes a lot of business sense. But the thing is, the only road in and out is your internet connection. Suddenlink Business offers the fastest internet service in your area, so you get more done faster. It's not magic, it's bandwidth, and we have the most in town.
Well, as we welcome you back here to Charleston, West Virginia, Tamar Slay and Hot Rod Henry being honored here on the court. But before the game, we had a potentially serious situation. A sophomore West Virginia Mountaineer cheerleader was injured as part of the pregame cheer routine. And we are pleased to report she was taken to the hospital for precautionary measures. Now, we were asked not to release her name until the family is fully notified of the situation. We can get that information as it becomes available. However, it does not appear to be serious. We don't know what the injuries are, but precautionary measures as to why the start of this game was delayed. Guys.
Robbie, thanks very much. And we were talking about that off-camera, guys. That always frightens us when the cheerleaders, I mean, they take a lot of risks doing what they do. Of course, they're very good at it. Long hours of practice, and we certainly hope that Robbie's optimistic report turns out to be the case and that the young lady's okay.
I went to the national cheerleading thing. I wish I could have opened up a stand with gauze and wraps, and I would have made a fortune.
Yeah, there's a lot of risks they take as Justin Edmonds off the inbounds play hits the three-pointer.
He can make that shot. Good perimeter jumper. Been battling back after transferring from junior college. A series of injuries and still not 100%, but he's really helping his team. I think he's been a pleasant surprise for Dan D'Antoni the last couple of weeks.
Carter trying to go to work on Luke. Staten now with 10 in the shot clock will pull up and knock it down. Juwan Staten.
How do you stop that? Well, Staten is so quick that you got to really break down, and he elevates so quickly. Defenders don't have a chance to get up to get a play in his face because he gets up so fast.
Foul called on Javon Carter, and again, take a look at Juwan Staten here. And again, very tough to defend, Frank, as you mentioned, when he can do this.
I mean, you have to respect his ability to dribble drive the basketball and then dish when he pulls up and makes the shot. Tough to stop.
Boy, and Gary Brown just hounding Nikolic on the inbound play. Two very different styles of defense. West Virginia very much an in-your-face defensive team. And Taylor's going to be called for the walk. On the other end, we're seeing more of a man-to-man, but it's a sort of a help defense, Frank, kind of a hybrid-looking defense. Both coaches stressing defense, they just play very different styles.
Yeah, I don't think Danny feels like he's got the talent right now to go mano-a-mano and challenge a lot of people in half-court defense. A little bit of a hybrid of a matchup zone, concepts and principles to try to confuse you. You're not sure if it's a zone or a man, and you're really guarding a total team defensive picture.
And pushing players to help, that sort of thing.
His philosophy is if somebody gets beat, it's not, hey, your guy got beat. I did my job. No, everybody as a team is responsible for any individual getting an easy basket.
Sane and Loop out. JP Cambola has checked into the game, as well as Tamron Manning. Staten will try from the same spot. This one off the mark. Macon misses the tip. Still battling. Batted out of bounds, and it will be West Virginia basketball.
That's one of those ones where Macon, if he had to do it over again, would probably take two hands and tip that thing down. He had a chance, since he was up so high, take both hands and really control that ball and get it down.
Inside Nathan Adrian, nice move.
Excellent inbounds execution by West Virginia.
And Adrian can add so much to the team. He's been a terrific outside shooter in the past, but has good size, can go inside as well. Cambola in all kinds of trouble. With the whistle. And it's a 3-second violation on the Thundering Herd.
And again, credit West Virginia's defense with being very disruptive. Marshall never got really comfortable with the basketball in the half-court set.
Juwan Staten will inbound. So he and the senior Gary Brown from Puerto Rico, team captain. $20 on the shot clock. Now with 12 on the shot clock, looks like Nikolic is going to be called. Alex Nikolic with the foul on Gary Brown. So players from all over the world in this game. Of course, plenty of Americans. We have Sheikh Sane from Senegal, JP Cambola from Toronto, Nikolic from Serbia committing that foul on Gary Brown from Puerto Rico. Staten lost the handle. Nobody picks up Cambola.
Yeah, Macon late getting back. He's going to come out of the basketball game. Careless turnover, a very rare careless turnover by Juwan Staten results in a dunk at the other end.
Adrian will try a three-pointer. That's off the mark. Rebound to Cambola.
This rebound by JP Cambola, who's hadn't played a lot in his career.
Ooh, a long three-pointer for Justin Edmonds, and Marshall on top.
Well, I'm telling you, he can make that shot. He has great range. He can be a good perimeter shooter. They've got if he and Luke both get going from outside, that gives you two deep threats.
Jay Johnson, also a capable shooter,
yes, he is
out on the floor. And now we have a whistle, foul away from the ball. Marshall 3 for 4 from three-point range. The Mountaineers 0 for 3. And some substitutes. It's Holton, Brandon Watkins for the first time. Also, Tariq Phillip has checked into the game for the Mountaineers.
Bob Huggins seems a little frustrated early, Warren, trying to find the right combination.
Right combination, yep. The way that Bob Huggins coaches this ball club, if there's any slacking at all on a player, it will show up. And that's the issue with Macon coming out of the ball game. The way that they hustle and run this press offense, one person not on top of his game, they will be exposed.
And also, we've talked about this too, Warren. You would think that that would keep everybody's intensity level high, because when you go to the end of this bench, there's 7, 8 guys between you and the coach, right?
That's exactly right.
You know, sometimes you only have 7 or 8 guys you're going to play. That's one thing, but 12 or 13, there's plenty of guys who can come in and do the job you want to try to do. Watkins lost the handle. Cambola comes up with it.
Well, there's an example of Marshall trapping the basketball a little bit as well, and they cause some disruptive problems.
Manning for 3. That rattles out. And Nikolic showing that 7-foot wingspan. And Nikolic comes up with an offensive rebound to keep Marshall alive. And a kick ball here by Tariq Phillip. Well, Nikolic is an interesting story. He was 6'1" when they first started recruiting him. Is now up to 6'6" and a half, and has a 7-foot wingspan.
Yeah, they think he might end up being 6'8", 6'9", with guard skills. Right now, he's struggling with the pace of this game and this defensive pressure.
Every year you hear of a story like that. Some kid that somebody recruited that was 6'1" or 6'2". You just don't know which ones they're going to be. But there's always some guys that shoot up like that.
Well, the most famous I can think of is David Robinson at the Naval Academy.
Yeah, Scottie Pippen was not that tall initially.
Well, we just had one on the floor with Hot Rod Hundley and Tamar Slay from Beckley, who was a guard at a young age and grew late.
Three-pointer off the mark by Johnson. Back the other way for the Mountaineers, running the floor, and the finish for Javon Carter.
Good execution by the Mountaineers on that fast break. Watkins with a good outlet pass, and the guards finishing at the other end.
So Carter able to tie things up, has a chance now for a three-point play to put the Mountaineers up on top. That's on one end of the floor. On the other end, J.P. Cambola the dunk. Justin Edmonds with a three-pointer, and Marshall and West Virginia all tied up at 13 apiece.
At United Bank, we began our banking tradition 175 years ago. Today, we're one of the nation's largest bank holding companies. With $12 billion in assets and over 130 offices in 5 states and Washington, D.C., we take pride that we live and work in the communities we serve. We're involved in local events, charities, and businesses, and making a difference in thousands of lives every day. United Bank, at your service.
My wife, mother, mentor, master planner. She keeps our world together. But a stroke brings confusion. And that night, she was looking to me to know where to go. I saw trust behind those frightened eyes. And it's the best compliment she's ever given me.
When it's serious, it's St. Mary's.
Attention Steelers Nation, are you ready to tailgate McDonald's style? Start with 2 legendary Big Mac sandwiches. Team them up with 2 tasty McDouble sandwiches, 2 medium world famous fries, and a 10-piece chicken McNuggets, all for just $11.99. Introducing the new Steelers Fan Feast. With this many McDonald's favorites for only $11.99, there's no penalty for excessive celebration. There's something for every Steelers fan to love at McDonald's.
On the latest Inside Penguins Hockey, visit Paul Martin's hometown and find out why the defenseman almost didn't play hockey. See some hidden Penguins artifacts at the Hockey Hall of Fame Resource Center and much more. Inside Penguins Hockey tomorrow at 6 p.m. on Root Sports. Penguins trying to get healthy.
Boy, the mumps. My goodness. Rob, did you ever have the mumps?
I don't think so.
I don't think I did. Right?
I did not.
Okay. Seems to be going around the NHL quite a bit, though.
Yeah, close to a dozen players now, the mumps, including Sidney Crosby.
The mumps are one of those things you don't want making a comeback.
Yeah, no, that's no doubt about it. And quite a bit more painful, evidently, when you get it later on in life. Or so I read. Anyway, trying to read up on the mumps.
Some trends are good to come back. The mumps is certainly not one of them.
Yeah. 14-13 game after the Carter free throw. And now Carter draws the charging call. So nice job by Javon Carter on both ends of the floor.
Well, Carter comes in and gives you that spark defensively. Got good position. He was there 15 seconds before the player got there. So easy call for the official.
Again, the tempo of the game and that pressure sometimes forces you to go to speed you're not comfortable. Manning did not look real comfortable on that drive.
Another thing we've seen, Frank, in watching a lot of these and broadcasting a lot of these West Virginia games is how much the pressure pays off late in the game when teams begin to get tired. Here's Holton now from the corner, three-pointer off the mark. Watkins battling for it and knocks it off the leg of Cameron Manning, and it'll be West Virginia basketball. Good hustle by Brandon Watkins.
Take a look.
It looked like that left pant leg just moved a little bit of Cameron Manning, and that's what I think the official saw.
They want to take a look at this, I think. Nope. I thought maybe they want to take a look at it, but
Gary Brown pulls up. Watkins the rebound. And the putback. Well, Brandon Watkins had his only career double-double in this game as a freshman a season ago. Maybe like something down here in Charleston.
This feels like a fairly dangerous point of the game for Marshall.
Yeah, I agree.
In the first half. They give up a couple of offensive rebounds, and they've just been really bothered by the pressure here in the backcourt here in this last couple of minutes.
Tariq Phillip fouling DaVinci Boykins.
Sometimes you get to those explosion points and you give up runs. Marshall has to be careful.
Boy, putback effort, I believe. That's going to be Boykins who's credited with a putback, perhaps. It's hard to say. A couple guys battling for that. Yep, they're going to say Boykins did score in the putback.
You don't see that often, do you? That was a two-man putback.
Yeah.
4 hands on the ball.
Carter in trouble, out of bounds, and Marshall forces the turnover. So West Virginia, we have not seen them this sloppy with the basketball, Warren.
Well, that's inexperience. If you see that double team coming towards you, you've got to pick that basketball up and get rid of it before they close in on you. Carter waited too long, caused a turnover.
With the double teaming coming in different ways, West Virginia's in a full court pressure. Marshall's more of a half court.
And Jay Johnson gets the timeout call there. We saw that. And one of the things they were talking about in the shoot-around this morning is you must be quick and you must be decisive against West Virginia. You can't allow them to get that double team on you and that pressing, whether it's half court or full court. And we've seen some indecisiveness at times here from the Thundering Herd.
It feels like you're playing against 7 or 8 guys.
Yeah,
when it's
right.
that way. I mean, there's hands everywhere, and they're reaching from behind and tapping, tipping from behind. It's almost like you're playing against 7 or 8 guys.
Well, the thing, too, is it begins to take over after a while. You can be in the right position, but fatigue after a while begins to take over. You're not quite, you don't concentrate quite as much. Your pass doesn't have as much zip on it. And when you got as many guys rotating in and out as West Virginia does, and they keep fresh people on, that can end up being a very, very dangerous situation.
This seems to be Bob Huggins' type of team, doesn't it, Warren? Maybe more so than any time since he's been back in Morgantown?
I agree 100%, Frank. Exactly right.
And a quick steal by Tariq Phillip up ahead to Juwan Staten for the lay-in. And Boykins is going to be called for the goaltend. Well, we've seen a couple guys that can get up on the square here for the Thundering Herd, huh?
That's the quickness that you're talking about, Rob, with how quick you have to be with the ball. You can't just drop that inbound pass across the sideline into the court. Every pass has to be crisp.
Not a good place. Marshall cannot get that basketball in that corner that deep. The sideline and the baseline become 2 extra defenders along with the 2 Mountaineer players. That's a horrible place to try to get that ball in. It's got to be more in the middle of the court where you have some options.
So smarter and quicker for the Thundering Herd. Saw assistant Chris Duhon stopped practice and said, hey, this is not cutting it. And now the Mountaineers defense really beginning to rattle the Thundering Herd. Ooh, Phillips swallowed up by J.P. Cambola. And Boykins need the foul call. Looks like it's going to be Staten on the reach-in. Juwan Staten will be called.
Yeah, nice minutes by Cambola coming in here off the bench. And there's a look at Chris Duhon, former great player at Duke, played for a long time in the NBA, in New York and L.A., where Dan D'Antoni coached. His first coaching job.
Asked him about the hiring of Duhon. And he said, hey, we were assistants for a while. We sat on the bench next to each other, and we both look at basketball the same way. And we're going to get another charge call. This time it's Staten stepping in.
Well, West Virginia doing a much better job today of rotating than they have in the past. When men are going open down the lane. We saw Carter take a charge, and now Staten stepping in. Good rotation.
Well, Johnson putting the ball on the floor there and getting in traffic. He's probably a little more comfortable shooting that from the perimeter than he is going through traffic against this pressure.
Well, we saw on the other end, Tariq Phillip go in and get blocked by Cambola. And at times, guys, maybe the thing to do is once you get by that first wave, pull up from 12 or 15 feet instead of trying to take it all the way into the hoop. Seen shot blockers on both sides. Brandon Watkins will be called for the travel.
situation where you're a little too high when you get the basketball. Get your butt down some and then try to put that ball on the floor. When you're high like that, it's easy to shut the feet.
What was it John Wooden said? Be quick, but don't hurry. He hurried a little bit, didn't he?
And Boykins over the top, and Loop and Devin Williams, big collision there. I think if you're going to pick the one guy you would not want colliding with you, it might be Devin Williams at 6'9", 255.
Take a look. Loop is lucky to come out of this without being hurt, because you're right, that's a big man sending you under the scorer's table.
A lot of people like to see what he looked like on a gridiron wearing number 85. You know what? As a tight end.
Native of Cincinnati. Excellent student. All academic rookie team for the Big 12. Boy, Luke, quick release on the three-pointer. Rebound to State. Nice job recovering there, that time defensively for the Thundering Herd. Phillip getting in the middle of that defense, nobody around to help, and now Holton gets a good feed from Williams.
Boy, nice pass by Williams and a good cut by Holton inside.
A pretty good patience that time also by West Virginia against Marshall's defense. Tell you what, this is really baptism under fire for Nikolic, isn't it? He has been manhandled physically.
Long three-point attempt off the mark.
That's not the shot that he wants now. I know Mike lets him shoot, Dan lets them shoot, but that's just a little too far and a quick trigger.
I think he was just happy to be able to breathe a little bit. He had some space. I mean, Danny talks about how this game against West Virginia, which is an outstanding team, is going to be good for his team in terms of a learning experience, a growing experience. And I think probably the one guy that's probably the best for is this young man right here. In Serbia, he's not used to this pace, not used to the physical play. This is really a learning experience for him. He's playing a lot of minutes, let's face it. That's going to be good for him in the long run.
9-2 West Virginia run, and still Bob Huggins pulling guys in and out of the lineup. And he also stopped practice this morning, said, guys, let's get back to doing things the right way. Said that we've drifted off course a little bit. So Bob Huggins has had a short hook here tonight for some of his players.
Well, with Hugs, if you're going to do an individual play, it better work. Something out of the offense that doesn't work and you happen to turn it over, he's not going to be pleased. Devin Williams trying to go baseline, trying to make a move just now, lost the ball out. He sits down and gets an full from Bob.
And the personal foul call, so Sheikh Sané will inbound. And now the officials are going to converse here, make sure they're on the same page. Sané, I think, was wondering whether he could go up and down the baseline. He was told he could not.
Could not move. It's a spot.
Taylor now. Edmonds will step back. Justin Edmonds shooting the ball well. His third three-pointer.
Yeah, he's relaxed, smiling, enjoying himself. He is a good deep threat from the three.
Well, if West Virginia is going to continue to play the defense with Edmonds on the court, when they get back, somebody's going to have to shift to his side because he's feeling it.
Sort of off a broken play, but Ryan Taylor, excellent passer.
Yeah, the breaking of the press might not have been very pretty.
No. And now we have Jayshawn Page, who's going to be called for the blocking foul on the screen. Now some of the players getting together. Elijah Macon trying to get Juwan Staten over to the West Virginia bench. So the rivalry game we were expecting, and tempers beginning to flare a little bit. The action's been hot on the floor as well, as the West Virginia Mountaineers leading the Marshall Thundering Herd by a score of 20-18.
City Construction offers design-build services, providing a turnkey project for all types of private and public facilities. We bring together the architects and engineers to become a sole source for contracting from concept to completion. budgeting and managing your project from start to finish. For almost 50 years, we have successfully completed thousands of projects from a family business built over 4 generations right here in West Virginia. Give us the opportunity to design build your next project. City Construction Company, West Virginia proud since 1965.
By hiring coal industry expertise, Brick Street understands us better than most insurance companies.
It's more of a tailored personal approach.
Brick Street's specialized approach has helped us reduce the cost of our claims and reduce our claims, resulting in lower costs to us.
It's everybody together looking out for what's best for the policyholder.
Brick Street's workers' compensation focus allows them to be the best carrier in the business.
We asked what random acts you would do if you won money from the West Virginia Lottery. Shaquan Taylor told us she would pay off her sister's college tuition. When Shaquan's idea was drawn, we were thrilled to help make it happen.
We won the Random Acts Lottery. What? Oh my God! What a crown TV!
What would your random act of lottery be if you won? Keep playing. You could make it real.
Watch the right-hand portion of your screen. You're going to see the block call on Jay-Sean Page, and then Juwan Staten and Sheck Sané get into it a little bit, and they're going to get technicals, offsetting technicals, double technicals for each team. And so it'll be Marshall basketball inbounding after the personal foul call. But some tempers getting riled up here a little bit.
Getting a little testy here, but that's what you would expect with these two getting together here.
Looked like Sané was trying to take the ball out of Staten's hand and maybe speed things up a little bit, and Staten said, wait a minute.
Yeah, players don't like that. Right or wrong, they don't like when somebody tries to take the ball out of their hands. And regardless, we have the double technicals on each team. It'll be Marshall basketball. Down just 2 to the 21st ranked team, the West Virginia Mountaineers. Again, Marshall's lost 5 in a row, but this game always seems to be close. In case you're just joining us, we mentioned earlier, 13 of the last 16 years, this game decided by 10 points or less. Inbounded to Ryan Taylor. 2 of those games going into overtime. There's a sloppy pass. Daxter Miles Jr. picks it off for the Mountaineers.
That ball had way too much air in it. You're exactly right under it, Rob. You're exactly right. Those are going to be picked off all evening.
Yep. Sloppy pass. Also, Campbell's got to come back for that.
And batted around. Staten got it back. They'll reset the offense. Elijah Macon trying to go to work on Cambola. On the shot clock, plenty of time. Now Staten has Cambola on the switch. Extra kick, Gary Brown in the corner. Oh, good passing, unselfish play, Warren, with the extra pass there.
Daxter Miles with the extra pass to Gary Brown. Gary Brown ready to tee it up and hit it.
That was one of West Virginia's longer possessions. And now the pressure forces the turnover.
And Edmonds open for a 3. That possession did not look good from the get-go. The ball goes through the hands of Nikolic. Some sloppy passes and then the turnover. Daxter Miles Jr. Rebound to Cambola.
Tell you what, he's had a nice first half, Cambola. Hasn't played a lot of minutes in his career.
Boy, Edmonds couldn't wait to get that three-pointer up. Finally missed one after hitting his first 3.
Good defense by Marshall getting back, stopping West Virginia's break.
Here's Miles Jr. rises up for the 3. No good. Batted around. Kept alive. Good hustle play by Gary Brown.
Well, Nikolic will have to learn, too. He had the rebound coming to him, and then it was taken away because he waited for it to come to him. Against West Virginia, you've got to grab the basketball.
Again, that's something that was explained to them And sometimes you have to live through it, right, to see what it's like, see what that speed is like. Staten, ooh boy, grimacing as he goes down hard, reaching towards his left knee.
And that's one of those
knees been bothering him a little bit.
Awkward knee on hip type situation. You see that left knee of Campola into the hip of Staten. There'll be a bruise there.
Also checking in for Mountaineers, number 1, Colton.
Staten's a tough kid. He'll try to walk it off and get back in there. But he did have some minor knee issues earlier in the year, and certainly he had that knee operated on 2 years ago. So, you know, anytime you see a player go down when he's had a history of a few knee issues, it concerns you if you're Bob Huggins.
Yep, and we've seen that knee iced up, worn after practices. Staten hits the first free throw.
It helps him that he doesn't have to play quite as many minutes, right?
Exactly.
And he's improved his shooting so much. 31% from the three-point line, 78% from the free throw line. A couple years ago, he was the only point guard in the country who hadn't hit a three-pointer. Has increased his range, made himself a much, much more difficult player to defend, and hits both free throws there.
Right now, Marshall down 6 here, and they've been able to stay in the game, but they've been shaky with the basketball. Dan D'Antoni would like to see it stay within range here in these last 5 minutes.
This is the largest lead of the game for the Mountaineers. Edmonds in trouble. Out to Loop, extra pass, Manning in the corner. Three-pointer is strong, Holton the rebound.
And again, it wasn't a turnover, but a near turnover.
Marshall ended up getting a pretty good shot out of that because it looked like they were in disarray at that other end. Got a good look from the corner, but didn't knock it down.
Staten all the way to the basket, and it's going to be off his knee. Nice job of getting the hand in there by Justin Edmonds.
Well, it was a clear out for Staten on the right side. Good defense, knocked the ball off of Staten's leg. Looked like Staten was going to have a clear path to the basket.
And you saw Danny was yelling at J.P. Cambola, said you got to help on that. It's tough to handle Staten and stop his dribble penetration.
Taylor to Loop. Loop's three-pointer, no good. Cambola skying. It's Taylor instead who will score. So Ryan Taylor.
Marshall really needed a basket there. Just the flow of the game, the feel of the game. They hadn't scored in a while. They needed a bucket.
Taylor, one of those guys, that's his first basket of the game, but one of those guys that seems to let the game come to him. Has a couple of assists and probably will look up tonight, and he'll be in double figures again as Brown's three-pointer off the mark. Good rebound by Macon, blocked by Cambola.
Who is this J.P. Cambola? He's playing like Buck Williams. Remember that name?
Oh, Maryland.
Maryland, yeah. Had to sit out last year, Cambola did. Now Loop in the corner. Here's Cambola again.
Well, when you double team and trap like West Virginia does, if Marshall executes, they'll get some shots like that.
He is playing more minutes than he's played, and he's playing well on both ends of the floor.
6 points, 3 rebounds, has blocked a couple of shots. Cambola averages 6 a game, so already at his average. Lead is 2, and now deflected out of bounds. No, saved by Taylor, but whisks it up the length of the floor, and Juwan Staten will grab it. And a fresh 35-second shot
West
clock.
Virginia looked like a team that was tired down that end just now. That loose ball rolling around, all Marshall players chasing it.
Cambola's playing with a lot of bounce right now. It's amazing when a couple of good things happen, you come out, it improves your mentality.
12 on the shot clock. Staten in the middle of the floor, floating too strong. Rebound to Taylor, and Taylor will be fouled. And the Marshall Thundering Herd, hearing it from their faithful, they've cut the lead down to 2. The 21st ranked Mountaineers leading 24-22. J.P. Cambola, a big reason the Thundering Herd's still in it.
St. Francis Hospital, faith is our most powerful medicine, and your faith has made us #1 for orthopedic medical excellence.
Thank you.
Thank you. #1 in orthopedic care and surgery.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And most significantly, #1 in overall hospital care.
Thank you. The St. Francis family says thank you for making us your #1 choice for health care.
St. Francis Hospital, the power to heal.
Whenever you have the ability to be with someone that means a lot to you and have a common interest, especially in the same passion for hunting and fishing. You know, Wes and I both grew up hunting and fishing, and to go all year just waiting for the season in fall, and you know, it's in the air, you just smell fall. You know that it's here. We know it's time to go hunting.
I'm WVU coach Dana Holgerson. As a coach, it's important to know some numbers. Player stats, team standings, we track them all. But the most important stat for everyone to know are your heart health numbers. Heart disease kills thousands of West Virginians every year. Let's change that. The WVU Heart Institute recommends you keep track of your blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar levels. Work with your doctor to keep those numbers in a healthy range. Together, Mountaineers can change the score on heart disease. All clear.
And then Santa's helpers boarded the train and off they went. And that's how we got it. Wow.
The magic of the season is here at the Lexus December to Remember sales event. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Sports fans, Gallery in the Berg and Ross Park Mall has all your favorite Pittsburgh sports framed artwork and collectibles, player prints, framed jerseys, lamps, bobbleheads, and more. Show everyone you're a fan. Visit Gallery in the Berg today, Ross Park Mall, lower level near Sears.
Well, we've mentioned this is one of those rivalries in which the records are not an indicator of how the game is going to go. Over the last 4 years, these games have been tight. Last year's closer than that final score indicated. The Mountaineers finally winning by 10, but go back just 4 years ago when West Virginia was ranked 21st as they are now. And Marshall winning that game, Frank, 75-71.
Yeah, the last Marshall win this series, DeAndre Kane was at Marshall at that time, who then eventually ended up at Iowa State. Played very well in the Big 12 last year. Demir Pitts, Shaquille Johnson, they were all guards that played very well for Marshall in that one.
And Dan D'Antoni, back at his alma mater, 1970 graduate, led the team to a couple of NITs as a player, excellent point guard. There's Bob Huggins, pretty darn good player himself, 1977 graduate of West Virginia, so both guys outstanding players at their universities and now on to coach those universities and, of course, facing each other here tonight for the first time.
And I'll say this about Danny. This is not, you know, a great Marshall team on paper, but they have played hard, even though they've lost, 5 games in a row. And they're playing a very tough schedule. They played Penn State, they played South Carolina, Louisville, now West Virginia. And Danny has to be pleased, not with execution tonight, but the effort that he's seen here again.
Yeah, he is getting that. Been sloppy with the ball at times, but that effort has been there.
Taylor ties it up with his 2 free throws at 24. Holton tried to go inside. Luke comes up with a steal. Marshall looking for the lead. Haven't had a lead since the 13-11 mark. Cambola feeling it. Oh, the three-pointer on target, but short. Rebound tracked down by Luke, and as you mentioned before, Warren, the only 2 people chasing that loose ball were Marshall Thundering Herd players. Here's Manning inside, and Manning will draw the foul. He'll go to the free throw line with a chance to put Marshall into the lead. Foul on Devin Williams. Manning, just a 50% free throw shooter, misses the first.
He played and scored very well in the loss to Penn State last week. As a team, Marshall struggled at the free throw line in that game. If they get opportunities to score here against West Virginia, they have to be able to take advantage of them. And that includes the free throw line.
Watkins coming in for Devin Williams. Devin Williams picked up that second foul. Bob Huggins doesn't want him to get a third before the intervention.
Marshall a 1-point lead. You can see the Mountaineers 5 minutes and counting since their last field goal.
Well, we were talking about the last 5 minutes and what D'Antoni would like to see. He's certainly seen it because it was starting to slip away a little bit. It was a 6-point West Virginia lead.
And Staten trying to go down into the blocks again. And Warren, That's maybe not the best angle for that pass to enter into the post there.
No, it was not. Bad angle, and it was low. West Virginia, their execution here the last couple of minutes has been as sloppy as Marshall's was earlier on.
Well, a lot of that, this is an unusual defense that Marshall plays. You don't see a lot of it.
Desperation. Now, who's the foul going to be called on? Is it going to be called on Taylor or Miles Jr.? Taylor says it's on West Virginia. He's marching down on one end with the ball, saying, I'm ready to shoot some free throws.
Wow.
And placed it down underneath the Marshall basket, and Bob Huggins not liking that. That was really a desperation heave there by Boykins. Again, Warren, he was put in a bad spot on that inbound play, and now these two battling for it. That really could have gone either way.
Yeah, that's right. They were both tangled up there. The official, from his angle, thought that Miles Jr. was the culprit and got the foul.
Stepping to the foul line, number 25, Taylor.
So Ryan Taylor will shoot a couple of free throws. Sophomore leading the team at over 15 points per game. Hits the first.
You'll notice, Warren, that when Marshall is struggling to hang on to the ball in the half-court set, when everything kind of breaks down, this is the guy they kind of look to. He's like the safety valve, just to get him the ball.
Get him the ball.
Let him help us figure out what to do next.
Yeah, it looks like he plays at a slower pace than everybody else. And by that, I mean just more calm and under control than the rest of his teammates.
Well, and another thing, too, West Virginia had Marshall down a number of times. The free throw line will help you out quite a bit. Marshall's been able to get to that line and knock some free throws down has really helped.
They lead by 3. Brandon Watkins. Jump hook off the mark. Holton rebound. Has it batted away by Taylor. And now they're going to get, I believe, Ryan Taylor with a foul call on the putback attempt.
Watkins very fortunate that there wasn't a 3-second call. He was in the lane quite a while.
That was whistled on Marshall's 25, Taylor.
Well, that'll be the first on Taylor. We said in the open, he's a guy, the one guy that has to stay out of foul trouble for Marshall because he does so many things on both ends of the floor. He's done that here in this first half.
Jonathan Sponge Holton, this is the first. Had to sit out last year, still getting his sea legs a little bit, but averaging 11.5 points, 8 rebounds, over 2 steals, over 1.5 blocks per game. Holton has impacted games in a variety of ways. Now hits his second. Lead is down to 2 with 1:05 remaining in the first half. Loop in trouble. Miles. Gary Brown open on the way, short, and batted by Cambola. Alive for Edmonds. Thought about the 3 drives in, and they're going to call him for the offensive foul as Gary Brown steps in and draws the charge.
Boy, that's awfully close. It looked like Brown may have been moving. West Virginia has been the recipient of a couple of other charges. If you get your body, you can still be moving. If you get your body squared up, it's going to be a charge, and I think that's what the officials saw.
Well, Gary Brown, one of those guys that steps into a lot of the hard places, Warren, and makes a lot of the little glue plays that help out. He's not going to score a ton of points. He's not going to rack up huge numbers, but helps you in a variety of different ways and also does those intangibles that I think Bob Huggins values.
He does. And, being the senior, the other guys, the other guards especially, sort of pick up on that leadership, that he gives them along with Jawan State.
Sometimes it's not easy to do that when you're a senior and your minutes have been cut into because there's so many other guys like you now on the team. There's so many guards on this team that can be disruptive. Nobody's playing as many minutes as they were in the past.
No, that's a good sign of leadership, right, Warren? I mean, somebody who's, and that could trickle down. If you have a senior who's sulking a little bit because his minutes aren't good, and then that can sour some of the younger players, and that can leave a negative imprint for years to come. But Gary Brown has not done that.
Well, everybody wants to win. When you're winning, everything's good, isn't it?
That's right. That's exactly right.
So Brown will inbounds to Javon Carter. There is a differential of about 6 seconds between the play clock and the game clock. Elijah Macon thought about it.
Well, Cambola was daring him to shoot that. He did think about it a long time.
Shot clock at 6.
Macon, high arching shot, will get his own rebound back. And now with 5 seconds on the shot clock, or 5 seconds on the game clock, I should say, Carter hits at the buzzer to tie things up. Javon Carter.
Yeah,
it's
it
27 apiece.
It was close to 3, but it wasn't 2 to tie it up.
Oh, another look here, Javon Carter. Just inside the three-point arc. Take a look at the clock above the scoreboard. Plenty of time as he releases this ball, a second and a half. And Javon Carter, that's a big offensive outburst for the Mountaineers this year, including 28 against VMI earlier. And he ties things up at 27. Let's go over to Robbie Inns-Mikowski with head coach Bob Huggins.
Bob, a tie at 27, took that shot to get it to a tie. Why has your team struggled offensively in the first half?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Why the offensive struggles in the first half?
Didn't make a shot. Everybody trying to do their own thing rather than run offense.
How do you improve that in the second half?
They're going to have to decide they want to be a basketball team or they want to be 5 individuals just doing their own thing.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks.
Very simple, Rob, huh?
It usually is, Robbie. Thank you very much. Bob Huggins summing up that first half. And it is what we normally expect when these two teams collide, a very tight game. Tied at 27. Halftime show coming up next.
At C. Adam Tony Tires, our staff of professionals will help you get the right Cooper tire for your car or truck. And with our maintenance, you'll get the best performance and mileage from your ride. Our certified mechanics will make sure you're safe and sound for the road. With 5 locations, including our new Summersville Service Center, at C. Adam Tony Tires, we want to get you where you're going safely. Whatever road, whatever ride, C. Adam Tony Tires has the Cooper tires for the way real drivers drive. C. Adam Tony Tires in Beckley, Prosperity, Oak Hill, Hurricane, and new Service Center in Summersville.
Thursday nights, every court is home court on TNT.
When you got the hammer, you gotta drop it.
Home to where the desire to win transforms into intense passion on the court and the drama of a last-second shot. The battle for basketball supremacy rages on, and the most entertaining studio crew in the game brings home all the action.
I'm going to have fun on television.
The NBA is home on TNT.
As part of the Suddenlink We Promise Guarantee, we're committed to bringing our customers the best value, richest content, and fastest speeds available. If you're a current Suddenlink customer in one of our most popular broadband internet packages, between now and New Year's, you will be given a significant speed upgrade, absolutely free. It's that easy. Enjoy faster downloading, sharing, video chatting, and streaming, all at no extra cost. Check your mailbox for information coming soon for how to take advantage of this free internet speed upgrade.
At the Charleston Civic Center, Marshall and West Virginia tied at 27 at halftime. Alongside Warren Baker and Frank Gardini, I'm Rob King. And Frank, some of your keys to the game, one of them was to be able to handle this West Virginia pressure. How's Marshall done with that?
I think so-so. I mean, they've struggled to get the ball up the floor sometimes. They've been disrupted, had some unforced errors and turnovers. But when they have gotten the ball into position, they've been able to score. And some of the turnovers, the near turnovers, like on this possession, they almost turned it over, but they've still been able to hang on and get the basket inside. Take another look. Not easy to get it in bounds. It wasn't the way they draw it up, but they come up with the open shot here from Edmonds and get the bucket. So I think they've handled adversity very well, and they're getting better as the game goes on. They don't seem to be quite as flustered as they were early, and they've made some open shots.
And Warren, how have the West Virginia Mountaineers handled their keys to the game?
Well, I don't think they've matched Marshall's intensity. We saw a number of loose balls rolling around and only green shirts going after them, so I'm sure that's going to be addressed. West Virginia needs to hit the boards harder, but Marshall's done a nice job with that as well. And the half-court efficiency for West Virginia still hadn't been there. As Bob Huggins said, got a lot of guys doing their own thing right now as opposed to playing team ball. I don't know if the halftime will be long enough for Hugs.
Javon Carter tied it up with an 18-footer at the buzzer. 27-27. Halftime at the Charleston Civic Center between the Marshall Thundering Herd and the West Virginia Mountaineers.
Get ready for the high-flying, jump-out-of-your-seat, buzzer-beating excitement of West Virginia basketball.
Staten penetrates all the way to the basket. Layup. It is good!
Don't miss the opportunity to secure your seat today.
Drops the ball inside. Devin Williams. Slam dunk.
See the Mountaineers in action by visiting WVUGame.com or by calling 1-800-WVU-GAME.
Oh, Lisa Sakes alive! Jawan Staten just took the ball down the lane.
Let's bring on the Mountaineers.
At St. Francis Hospital, faith is our most powerful medicine, and your faith has made us #1 for orthopedic medical excellence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
#1 in orthopedic care and surgery.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And most significantly, #1 in overall hospital care.
Thank you. The St. Francis family says thank you for making us your #1 choice for health care.
St. Francis Hospital, the power to heal.
Listen up, West Virginia. Big John is blowing it out for the end of the year. Every new car on the lot at Midstate Ford is only $14 over invoice. That's right, $14 over invoice at Midstate Ford on Arbuckle Road in Summersville. Now through December 23rd. Never, ever have you seen a Ford sale like this. And yes, there you go with it again. $14 over invoice and you still get the rebates. But you've got to act now. Midstate Ford on Arbuckle Road in Summersville. Ho, ho, ho. Shop online now at MidstateFordWV.com.
Perfect. Know what else is perfect? Getting a sausage McMuffin with egg sandwich and any size McCafe coffee for $3. Or 2 sausage McMuffin with egg sandwiches, also $3.
We have a tie ball game here at the Charleston Civic Center, 27-27. It's only tied because Javon Carter hit a buzzer beater to end the first half. What an exciting one we have coming your way here on Root Sports after 20 minutes. I'm Robbie Mikowski. Let's get a look at the Big 12 scoreboard on this Sunday. Just 4 games in action, counting this one right here that you see in a 27-27 tie. We have a final out of Texas Tech and Lubbock, 79-51. The Red Raiders beat Prairie View A&M, and in about 15 more minutes, Savannah State will take on K-State in Kansas State, and then Southern will go to Iowa State to face Freddie Hoiberg in just a couple minutes as well. Let's get a look at the upcoming schedule. WVU is going to head to Madison Square Garden to take on NC State in a couple days, and then they'll come home to face Wofford. That's going to be played at the Morgantown Coliseum, followed by another game at the Virginia Tech. Then we head to conference play when the new year turns in 2015 at TCU, at Texas Tech. They're the next 5 games for the Mountaineers. Let's get a look at March, what they have coming up. A home game coming up against King University. For those of you wondering, that is in Bristol, Tennessee. King University, followed by a 4-game road trip at Arkansas State, at Nevada, at Akron, and at Western Kentucky. So that's what we're looking at between these two teams and what's coming up. When we come back, we've got stats and highlights. Rob King, Frank Gardenia, Warren Baker. First half recap coming your way in a 27-27 tie on Root Sports.
There aren't many smiles at 2 a.m. It's when trembling hands must find each other. His heart attack taught me that love means being stronger than fear, and that strength comes from the hands of experience.
When it's serious, it's St. Mary's.
It's game day, and Geno's is kicking off some winning pickup deals, like our delicious made-to-order 1-topping large pizza and a 10-piece order of our breaded wings for only $13.99. It's Geno's pickup deal. Try our ham Pubwich, loaded with ham, melted cheese, lettuce, tomato, onions, and topped with our special sauce for just $6.99.
Now register to win one of 50 mountain bikes we're giving away at participating locations.
So come on in to Geno's Pizza and Spaghetti House, where no matter what deal you choose, you'll score big.
If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then the finished projects you see here tell the story of a company dedicated to quality from start to finish. Headed by a 7th-generation West Virginian named John Jarrett, Each project by Jared Construction carries with it the satisfaction of a good reference and a job well done. Right on time, right on budget. That's the promise of Jared Construction. Visit jared-construction.com and see for yourself.
It's the Chesapeake Energy Capital Classic, part of our wild and wonderful coverage on Root Sports, and it is tied up between Marshall and West Virginia at the half. Marshall, big underdogs, trying to get a couple of three-pointers, actually 3 of them from Justin Edmonds.
Yeah, Justin Edmonds is really starting to come along for Dan D'Antoni's team. Hitting the threes here gives them nice outside shooting. And then J.P. Cambola, both offensively and defensively, played 13 minutes in the first half. That's given his team a big lift.
6 points, 3 rebounds, a pair of blocks. Meanwhile, Warren, you pointed out Juwan Staten, and he has led the way for the Mountaineers with 8 points.
Well, yes, he has. And Juwan gets out. He makes such good decisions. And this little jump shot that he's developed here, the little step back, and the way he elevates has become such a part of his arsenal now. They're going to need a lot more than the next half out of him.
And let's take a look at the statistics here in the first half. And I think the Mountaineers expecting to force 14 turnovers, but maybe Warren not expecting to commit 10 of their own.
No, get them to their own, and really out-rebounding Marshall by 4. Points off a turnover, that's been the big thing, and Marshall hitting those threes has been able to help them stay in the ball game. So pretty evenly matched. It ought to be a good second half.
And 45% from the floor in the first half for Marshall. Pretty good shooting, especially 4 for 13 from three-point range.
They've shot it very well once they've got the ball past half court, and they've been able to limit West Virginia to no three-point makes in this first half, which has been a big factor as well. You mentioned it, Warren, 17 points off turnovers for West Virginia, but they're not getting much out of the half court.
We are all tied at 27. The Thundering Herd of Marshall, the 21st ranked Mountaineers of West Virginia. From the Charleston Civic Center here on Root Sports.
Listen up, West Virginia. Big John is blowing it out for the end of the year. Every new car on the lot at Midstate Ford is only $14 over invoice. That's right, $14 over invoice at Midstate Ford on Arbuckle Road in Summersville. Now through December 23rd, never ever have you seen a Ford sale like this. And yes, there you go with it again. $14 over invoice and you still get the rebates. But you've got to act now. Midstate Ford on Arbuckle Road in Summersville. Ho, ho, ho. Shop online now at MidstateFordWV.com.
Brick Street Individualized Solutions has been fantastic.
Brick Street brings value to our policyholders by working with them in a team approach to provide services across all aspects.
It's definitely been a success.
Developing what they need to make a better work environment for their employees.
Our premiums have decreased every year for the last 4 years, and that is because of the Brick Street 360 team that we're proud to be a part of.
At United Bank, we began our banking tradition 175 years ago. Today, we're one of the nation's largest bank holding companies. With $12 billion in assets and over 130 offices in 5 states and Washington, D.C., we take pride that we live and work in the communities we serve. We're involved in local events, charities, and businesses, and making a difference in thousands of lives every day. United Bank, at your service.
At NSS Life, we're all about life. From the very beginning and through all of life's wonderful journeys, we've been here for you. For over a century, NSS Life has protected lives throughout the country with low-cost life insurance. Call us or go online. NSS Life, where family matters.
NSS Life, where family matters.
It's the Chesapeake Energy Capital Classic. It is the matchup between the only 2 Division I teams in the state of West Virginia, the Marshall Thundering Herd, the West Virginia Mountaineers, tied at the half. And let's go over to Robbie Inzbikowski now with head coach Dan D'Antoni of the Thundering Herd.
Well, here we are with the Thundering Herd head coach Dan D'Antoni. Dan, you got a tie ball game, 27-27. What has your team done to hold West Virginia back offensively in that first half?
Well, I don't know what they've done to hold us back. We should be up 10 points, but you know, they run a little motion that we're pretty good defensively. So I don't know if they can do anything, but we can't let up. The biggest thing about them is they wear you down. We've got to make sure this second half is as intense as the first half, and then offensively, that keeps them from scoring if we do well on the offensive end. We got to move the ball down the floor, and we got to keep attacking. Sometimes we get a little soft with our passes. The ball's got to get to the basket, take quick shots, and keep them running, and let all their scrambling and running they do all the time wear them down, not us.
Thanks, Dan. All right, guys.
You have to love his passion. He said, "What do you mean staying in this game? We should be up by 10 in this game."
That's a coach. He's looking at it like, hey, we should be winning this game. I will say this team, if anyone ever wondered whether Danny Dandoni could coach or not, they have gotten better every week. Each player's gotten better incrementally as the season goes on. But he said it, and Warren has talked about it. In this second half, West Virginia can wear you down if you're not careful. And he's concerned about that with his team in the second half. They cannot let up at all.
Has coached up his sons, too, by the way. His son, Matt, played at Brown, Andrew at Army, Nick at William and Mary. All three, by the way, nice way to start your life out at those institutions. His daughter, Morgan, a big viola and violin player. Just got back from a tour of China. So he knows how to do some coaching. He doesn't take any credit for the viola part, though, with his daughter.
Well, you know, Marshall took a couple of hard blows from West Virginia in the first half and responded. Now, the first 4 minutes of this second half is going to be very, very crucial. If Marshall hangs around those first 4 minutes, this may go down to the wire here. We'll see how West Virginia's intensity is at the beginning of the second half and whether they can match Marshall.
Bob Huggins, the magna cum laude grad from West Virginia. There's a few things about academics himself and about winning basketball games. The 14th all-time winningest coach in basketball history, 7 behind the great Henry Ibe. The names he has passed on the list this year, Hall of Fame names, as he continues to move up the coaching ranks. And right in front of our table, Daxter Miles Jr. will inbound.
Well, if he passes
Juwan Staten.
Henry Ibe, he'll be passing a guy that one of the Big 12 arenas is named after, correct?
Yeah, and it's, again, every week it's Rolly Massimino, it's Fogowan, it's Fogowan. It's great names left and right as that ball is tipped back in. Well, Devin Williams came up a little lame.
I think he had one of his lenses knocked out of his glasses. He had that problem. I was at practice the other day, and somebody got a chop across his face, and he lost both lenses.
Doing a little work on those, and looks like he'll have to come out of the game.
Oh, he's got a spare pair there.
Okay, yep. Ready to go.
Get him a box of 12 before he's ball.
And the Mountaineers ample time to set up this press after that stop and play. Ryan Taylor in trouble. Trying to dribble out of it. You get it across the timeline to Sané, but he cuts his dribble immediately, and now
Sané knows
his push there.
He knows his limitations. He does not want to be putting the ball on the floor more than once out around the center court area.
But that's why it's so tough to get it to those big guys, right, Warren? Because they get over that, and then you could, the minute they pick the dribble up, they're going to draw the defense like flies and get that double team over there.
That's exactly right, and they're not used to handling the basketball. You know, looking at that trap that West Virginia set on that inbounds play, Frank, you can see what you're talking about. That ball went to Ryan Taylor. He didn't panic. A lot of other guys might have lost that basketball. He took his time, found the open man, and Marshall was able to break the press.
Had the clock in his head also, yes. I think, for the 5-second count. Yeah, when everything kind of breaks down, you got to have that one guy sometimes that you look to, and he is that guy for Marshall.
Miles Jr., three-pointer, no good. Rebound to Sané.
Good box out by the Marshall players inside.
Cheikh Sané, native Senegal, speaks 4 languages. Here's Taylor, long three-pointer is good for Ryan Taylor. Marshall has recaptured the lead.
Part of that started West Virginia trapped after the miss and they had a lot of players down at one end of the court. Marshall with good ball movement. Taylor able to spot up and knock it down.
Devin Williams called for the travel, and here's that three-pointer by Taylor, who, Frank, seems to be one of those guys, lets the rest of his teammates get involved, and all of a sudden you look up, he's got 7 points.
Yeah, good ball movement, and he can make the perimeter jumper. He's a good long-range shooter. Doesn't look like it because he's a big, strong, powerful guy inside, but he has perimeter range.
By the way, 9 points, not 7, 9 points for Taylor. Ian Edmonds leading all scorers, and now we have a whistle away from the ball.
That has been eating Bob Huggins up all year. Jonathan Holden picking up fouls 30, 40, sometimes the length of the court away from the basket. He's too valuable of a player to have those type of cheap fouls.
Yep, just nodded his head towards Bob Huggins and said, I know, I know. Taylor will try another three off the screen. And it looked like Sané might have
West Virginia fortunate that shot didn't go down. That would have been a three-point basket and the basketball out.
That's a 13th foul coming into.
Take a look at Sané.
Yep, that's Holton trying to go over the top.
Through that. If that ball drops, that's a three-point shot, and Marshall with the basketball out.
And a couple quick personal fouls for Holton, and he's out of the game.
Yeah.
And Nikolic from the corner hits the three-pointer.
Well, he struggled with his shot this year, especially from the outside.
He was just 1 for 12 from three-point range coming into the season, hits that one, and the lead is 4 for the Thundering Herd.
One of the things I like that Danny has done with him, he stayed with him. He knows he's got a great future, and he's let him play through tough times and mistakes, and he stayed with him, and feels like he'll eventually be a good shooter as well.
Page inbounding. Devin Williams, little jump stop, misses, rebound, pulled away by Taylor. Boy, Ryan Taylor asserting himself early on in this second half.
Yeah, Taylor became a man among boys inside with this rebound right there. Very strong rebound. 3 Mountaineers around him. He corrals the basketball. Nobody's going to take it from him.
6'5", 225, can play big, can step out, hit the three-pointer. Really an excellent player, the sophomore Ryan Taylor. Has helped Marshall to their biggest lead of the game.
And when they've been able to break the press, he's been a help in that area also.
Well, Sané has done more dribbling than he's used to doing, I would think, in a game. In trouble, and Marshall will call the timeout. Have to use one there to avoid the call, and so that's a 30-second, but will be extended to the full timeout as the first timeout taken here in the second half. And an excellent start early on in this first 2 minutes and 3 seconds for the Marshall Thundering Herd.
You know, if you had unlimited timeouts, this pressure wouldn't bother you at all. Just call timeout every time you get in trouble. Problem is you only have so many. It's like fouls. If you had unlimited fouls, what the heck? You could play great defense. You only get 5. But if you had unlimited timeouts, this trapping pressure wouldn't be such a problem.
And you look at West Virginia here. Now, Marshall 11 for 22, so the West Virginia defense has not been up to snuff. But I think what Bob Huggins might be, you know, what we're seeing here from his team, Warren 12 for 34 from the floor. They just have not been able to find any sort of offensive rhythm.
No, they haven't. And, you know, the team has been out of sync. We've seen a lot of passes and turnovers. West Virginia, really, their half-court offense needs a lot of work. Fortunately for them, early on, when they played, you know, some of your, if you want to call them cupcakes, the defense was able to create the offense. They got a lot of easy baskets. That's not going to happen from here on out. So, you know, that half-court efficiency has to improve.
Well, we've seen that, as you mentioned that, we've seen that throughout many games, especially in the second half, even some some sloppy first halves for West Virginia, but then that pressure defense starts to add up and teams start to get worn down, and all of a sudden they go on an 8, 10, 12-point run and they take a 6-point lead, and suddenly the game's out of reach. But they just have not been able to score on the offensive end and get that effective pressure from the trap.
No, and I'm not surprised at all that Marshall came out and hit it. You know, they come out third wrestle right after halftime, so those threes going down, that's not a big surprise, but certainly West Virginia needs to ramp it up here.
So Bob Huggins finds his team down 4. Offense hasn't gotten much traction. And here's Nikolic with that three-pointer, just his second of the year.
Well, as you said, he really has struggled shooting the three. He struggled shooting the basketball, period. But in the last game against Penn State, he scored pretty well and helped his team offensively, and you can see the confidence starting to come around.
Sané will inbound for Marshall. Up 4, that is their largest lead of the game. Taylor wanted to hand it off, but instead he will put it on the floor. And inside to Sané, so good overplay defense there. The turnover caused. 17:43 remaining in the second half. The 21st ranked Mountaineers getting all they want and then some from the thundering herd of Marshall. Wide open 3, and Carter able to hit.
Well, some miscommunication by Marshall and West Virginia at the other end.
Well, Carter fell down, getting back in transition defense. That allowed Luke to get wide open, lead back up to 3. Staten directing traffic. Now a near turnover. Tariq Phillip driving to the basket, hanging, and can't get the basket.
You saw that wingspan of Nikolic almost create the steal there by Phillip. It's very deceptive with how long his arms are. But you mentioned it on the play-by-play that Carter fell down after making the shot.
Well, yeah, but
you know, an easy one.
Somebody else for West Virginia should have been rotated back in that situation as well right there. Devin Williams was the one, because of the slam dunk that the finger was pointed at. I'm not so sure someone else shouldn't have rotated back.
Phillips, 68% free throw shooter, misses the first. Luke, who had that dunk, interesting story, former walk-on, has been granted a scholarship.
Yeah, this time a year ago, I think he was still a walk-on. He got a scholarship during the season last year under Tom Herrion. And I think he's got to feel like he's kind of died and gone to heaven under Dan D'Antoni, because he's got the green light to shoot. He's a great shooter. And he's been a great fit in what Danny's been doing in Huntington.
Phillip misses them both. Lead remains 3 for Marshall over West Virginia, trying to spring an upset of the 21st ranked team in the country. Taylor driving and is going to draw the foul, and we'll get to the free throw line.
What can I tell you? That was a switch. That's a tough matchup for Devin Williams. Taylor can handle that ball so well. He's got the size to be able to get inside. There was a switch. Nathan Adrian was on him initially. There was a switch, and there was a mismatch outside with Taylor on Williams.
And he can be a tough matchup.
Oh, yes.
He's a little quicker than both Adrian and Williams. He's not as big, not as tall.
Elijah making it for Devin Williams.
But he can be a tough matchup for a taller post.
Played at Hargrave Military Academy under A.W. Hamilton, a former Marshall player. And Taylor hits them both, and the lead is the largest of the game for the Thundering Herd, 37-32. Luke's going to be called for grabbing a hold of Carter off that screen.
Fouls on Marshall's number 35.
Well, here's another area too, Warren. I would think if you're screening properly and running off the ball, where you can wear a team down to, not just defensively but offensively as well. A lot of work climbing over those screens for 40 minutes.
Marshall applying a little pressure, giving West Virginia a little bit of their own.
There's Nikolic, who batted that out of bounds. Now Staten will run it all the way down in the backcourt. Directing traffic. Marshall has come out. Tie game at the half and has outscored the Mountaineers by 5. Bacon kicks back out to Staten. He'll try the three-pointer. Jawan Staten, big three-pointer for the Mountaineers.
Kim making a lot of credit getting that offensive rebound, to not try to force anything. Staten knocks down the three.
Kolich is running for his life there. Now the left-handed layup by Edmonds.
It's amazing.
Edmonds has 11.
When a guy who can score, has a scorer's mentality, gets into the flow of the game, their confidence goes way up. Edmonds is playing really well offensively.
Well, and the way he's been shooting the three, you've got to come out and challenge him. He's quick enough to get that shot down.
Now a turnover. Luke to Edmonds. Edmonds. Again, Justin Edmonds, 13 points.
They didn't exactly have the numbers, but when you're feeling it, you're feeling it. Old-fashioned Sam Jones off the glass.
Averaging under 4 points per game, has 13 here to lead all scorers. The lead is at 6. It's the largest of the game for the Thundering Herd. And a Let's Go Herd chant is broken out here at the Civic Center. Elijah Macon foul called, and Staten's going to be called for the charge taken by Shek-Sonnet. So the crowd here in Charleston rooting hard for the Herd. They're up by 6, 41-35. Edmonds has 13 points.
At United Bank, we began our banking tradition 175 years ago. Today, we're one of the nation's largest bank holding companies with $12 billion in assets and over 130 offices in 5 states and Washington, D.C. We take pride that we live and work in the communities we serve. We're involved in local events, charities, and businesses, and making a difference in thousands of lives every day. United Bank, at your service.
It's the Silverado year-end event. Time to get the Chevy Silverado on your list with the best offer of the year on the most awarded pickup of 2014. There's no better time than now. Hurry in. The last of the 2014s are going fast. Get $7,500 total value on this Silverado Crew Cab All-Star Edition, or trade up to get $9,500. See your 5-star Chevy dealer.
Appalachian Power can help you manage your energy usage. Did you know that saving up to 75% on your lighting cost is as easy as replacing your light bulbs? Or that setting your thermostat back when you're away can save as much as 10% a year on heating? Or that installing efficient shower heads can yield hot water savings of 25 to 60%? Take advantage of Appalachian Power's energy efficiency programs to save money and energy this winter. Find out more at AppalachianPower.com/save.
Then all the parts come together, and there it is, our new car. So that's how Santa fits it in his sleigh.
Wow. The magic of the season is here at the Lexus December to Remember sales event. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Lightning, Penguins, Monday at 6:30.
See Mario Lemieux back on the ice at the Mario Lemieux Fantasy Hockey Camp, January 14th. Proceeds benefit the Mario Lemieux Foundation.
Here from Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin as he breaks down the Steelers' victory over the Atlanta Falcons and get you ready for the next big matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. That is a big one during his live press conference Tuesday at noon on Root Sports. And here are the AFC North standings. Cincinnati flanking Cleveland and Johnny Manziel today. They improved to 9-4-1. Of course, the Steelers will host them at the end of the year. Baltimore also winning today. So the AFC North remains tight. And here it remains tight. Marshall actually has moved out now to a 6-point lead, and they've been perfect in the second half. 5 for 5 from the floor, including 2 for 2 from three-point range, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. And they have their largest lead of the game. Ooh, Ryan Taylor turns one over here. Ooh, nice basket by Javon Carter for the Mountaineers. Now another turnover into Staten. Staten can't get it to go, kept alive. It's Carter, and now Carter will kick it back out. They'll reset the offense. Batted out of bounds. The Mountaineers had a chance to really get on a little bit of a roll there. That pressure you're talking about, but couldn't convert the layup horn.
Yeah, just, you know, and things can change so fast with the pressure that they have. A couple of quick baskets. Nice shot by Carter. He was in a lot of traffic when he had to get that up.
But again, a bit of a war of attrition with them, kind of like a boxer going to the body early on, knowing it's going to pay dividends later. They usually wear teams down towards the end of the second half, and that press becomes more effective.
Well, Marshall went to their bench for the first time here in the half. Cambola, who played well in the first half, coming in. Manning coming in. Nikolic going out. He played pretty well at the start of the second half. And they went to the bench here for the first time in the second half, immediately had 2 turnovers.
Now, Nate Adrian doesn't always get the rebound, but he's always around the ball. He keeps it alive. West Virginia again getting another inbounds play.
Here's Carter off the mark. Batted out to Carter again as the Herd couldn't control the rebound. And the Mountaineers get a chance off the steal. Another chance off the batted out ball.
Well, they haven't had a lot of second chance points here tonight.
Well, that's certainly been in favor of the Mountaineers, but again, used to getting more of those offensive putbacks. Marshall's battled them. Fresh 35. Mountaineers trying to chip into this 4-point lead. Going to be another foul call. There's Juwan Staten and Justin Edmonds battling, so game is kind of slowed here a little.
We've got 13:22 to go, and both teams will be shooting free throws on fouls from here on out.
When you talk about personnel and foul issues, Marshall's bench not nearly as deep as West Virginia's.
Here's Carter off the inbound play. It is good. Javon Carter catching in rhythm and shooting. Carter in double figures now. He has 12 points. There's Luke, who answers for 3.
Boy, good answer by Marshall.
A good look by Justin Edmonds. Drew a lot of the defense to him, then hit the other shooter. And if you give Luke time, he's an outstanding shooter.
Carter will try a 3-pointer. Off the mark. Rebound. Taylor battling for it, and now Taylor bounces it off the head of Nate Adrian. I don't think that was his intent.
No, I think he just wanted to hit him somewhere. Just got the head.
Boy, that caught him flush on the top of the noggin. Check this out. Whoa! Disappears completely from our screen and went about 6 rows up. Able to get the inbound to Ryan Taylor. Hounded by Tariq Phillip. Boy, and some bounces going Marshall's way, certainly. Now Cambola is going to be called for the travel.
Well, Tariq Phillip is a much better matchup on Ryan Taylor than the other 2 guys that had on him. He's long, but he's quicker too, so that makes a much better difference. West Virginia's gone with Phillips on Taylor.
He was a little too quick for Adrian earlier.
Exactly.
A little too quick for Williams.
Short.
Well, every time they get towards that baseline, Marshall shows a double. Now inside to Brandon Watkins. Jump hook. At the good feed from Carter. Nice finish by Watkins.
Yeah, Watkins got good position inside.
Under control that time. Cambola didn't want to foul.
Now Cambola on the other end.
Well, you go for a gamble if you don't get the ball. That's, you know, and baskets like that are worth more than 2 points to your team sometimes. It ignites the crowd. It gets your team going.
Third dunk of the game. Watkins tries to follow. Kept alive. And now Manning for Marshall.
Manning got the ball to Cambola. Cambola immediately came to get it back. Did not want Cambola handling the ball between the circles.
Inside, Taylor will kick out to Luke. 3-pointer on the way is good. Largest lead of the game for the Thundering Herd. They're up 8.
Well, Luke even had some problems making the catch that time. The pass was a little low. But when he gets it set and gets ready to shoot, he's very accurate.
Well, you said this might have been worth more than 2 points. Cambola with his third dunk of the game. And then the three-pointer off the feed from Taylor.
See, the pass was a little bit low. He still had time to catch and gather and make the shot.
But the presence of Taylor to know exactly where to go with that basketball.
8-point lead for Marshall with 11:19 remaining here in the second half.
I'll tell you what, when I look at the huddle over there across the way, Bacon, Taylor he's gassed, he's tired, but he does not want to come out of the game.
No.
And Danny D'Antoni does not want to take him out of the game.
Well, how about this? With 8 minutes and 41 seconds gone in the second half, Marshall is perfect this half. 8 for 8 from the floor and 2 for 2 from the free throw line.
You're gonna
Amazing.
Win a lot of games if you shoot like that, won't you? Oh, my. But their execution has been fine. They've been hitting the open man, and then, of course, dunks are high percentage shots. So, but they've done a good job of rotating the ball and hitting the open man.
West Virginia back on their heels.
I think Bake made the point of the day when you said that dunk sometimes is worth more than 2.
Yes.
It just kind of regathers everybody's manhood a little bit, not just the confidence, but some of your swagger.
Exactly, yeah.
Now with the foul call inside on Jay Johnson guarding Jonathan Holton. As we head to a break, the Marshall Thundering Herd have thundered out here in the second half. They lead by 8, 49-41.
Hiring coal industry expertise, Brick Street understands us better than most insurance companies.
It's more of a tailored personal approach.
Brick Street's specialized approach has helped us reduce the cost of our claims and reduce our claims, resulting in lower costs to us.
It's everybody together looking out for what's best for the policyholder.
Brick Street's workers' compensation focus allows them to be the best carrier in the business.
Crossroads Chevrolet is celebrating Christmas early this year during our 12 Days of Christmas sale. On the third day of Christmas, Crossroads Chevrolet gives to you a 2014 Chevy Cruze LS for just $16,888. 12 deals, 12 vehicles, 12 incredible days. Get to Crossroads Chevrolet now for our Truckmas Blowout. All 2014 and 2015 trucks are priced to go. Crossroads Chevrolet, top of the hill just off Route 19 in Bradley.
Hi, I'm Matt. I used to be in your situation. I knew I needed to make a positive change in my life. I needed to find a great job. Here's my tip. Don't do what I did. I had to deal with monsters. They're scary. And builders? What was I building? An endless list? Who's Craig? And now it's the holidays? Avoid these problems and distractions. Here's the solution. BetterCharlestonJobs.com. Make a positive change in your life. BetterCharlestonJobs.com.
The Suddenlink Season to Switch event is here. The best time of year to keep your family connected with reliable Suddenlink home phone. Switch now and enjoy unlimited local and U.S. long distance just in time for the holidays. Suddenlink also gives you enhanced 911 that instantly shows emergency operators your address. Plus, innovative calling features like voicemail to email are available. 'Tis the season to switch and save with Suddenlink.
Home phone unlimited for $10 per month when you bundle.
The Penguins are back on home ice tomorrow as they host the Tampa Bay Lightning. Catch all the action from Consol Energy Center starting at 6:30 with Penguins pregame presented by Heritage Valley Health System on Root Sports. Penguins have some players off to terrific starts. Evgeny Malkin, 15 goals, 21 assists for 36 points. Marc-Andre Fleury, 16, 4 and 2, 5 shutouts. That ties a career high for him. Chris Letang, 3 goals in 2 games since his return from injury, including one late last night, a pair against Columbus. That second one late in the game sent the game into overtime, so the Penguins were able to pick up a point. Here at the Charleston Civic Center, Jonathan Holton shooting a 1-and-1 and is able to hit the first to cut into an 8-point Marshall lead. That knocks it back down to 7. The Thundering Herd have not missed a shot here in the second half. Holton hits them both.
Some of that comes too from having the right people shooting the ball. Edmonds, and Loop, who are good shooters, have been taking the shots.
Well, ill-advised pass there. Gary Brown with a turnover from the Taylor heave. Tariq Phillip three-pointer. Can't answer, but Carter tracks it down. Well, Carter really feeling it. This one off the side of the backboard.
Not a real good possession after getting a turnover like that.
No, and now big trouble here. And it's going to be out of bounds. Once again, Justin Edmonds has it knocked back by Phillip, but it seems like part of this is hustle, but it seems like every loose ball is kind of going Marshall's way here.
We'll take a look. Edmonds slips, falls down, and Phillip
just finds himself in terrible position, and yet Marshall still able to get the possession.
Well, right in front of Bob Huggins. Bob Huggins lobbying for that turnover.
Jay Johnson loses the handle. Crowd wanted a travel. Taylor trying to find Manning on the other end and shoots it out of bounds.
Well, Taylor threw that ball. Manning, D'Antoni both, and Taylor both said you're supposed to come into that spot. That's where you're supposed to be for that pass.
DaVinci Boykins is checked in, guarding Gary Brown. And we have an illegal screen here. No, it's going to be a foul on Marshall defensively here. Austin Loop gets called for the foul.
That's a big one. That's his fourth. And he's had a good night. Good shooter. He's been shooting well. And you're going to replace him with a walk-on.
Loop 11 points, and Brett Bowling, that walk-on from Pineville, West Virginia, will check in as Carter hits the first free throw.
Pineville, West Virginia, and Wyoming County, a lot of great players, athletes came out of Oceana, Mullins, Pineville, Baileysville. The great Kurt Warner, football, basketball player from Pineville High School, one of the best our state's produced. The Pineville-Mullins rivalry was pretty big back in the day, Bake.
Yes, it was.
So now you got a Mullins coach turn into a Pineville kid to come in and help him out.
We're going to bury the hatchet now and get in there and win. Help us win this game.
A little collision between Holton and wow, and
boy, Holton got away with a late push.
Yeah, the Herd faithful not too happy with that non-call. Boy, hard screen by Holton. Carter loses the handle. Was there a foul called?
Yes, there was.
There was.
Well, Carter was in no man's land in that lane. Fortunate to get bailed out with that foul.
It's whistled on Marshall's number 32, Manning.
We had 3 Marshall players around him reaching a foul.
Carter came in a 77% free throw shooter. Lead is 5. Carter 13 points. Now has 14, that leads all scorers. Justin Edmonds 13 for Marshall. Carter now 14 for the Mountaineers, and he's been able to supply some instant offense. 28 points against VMI, 15 off the bench against Boston College, and now 14 points here tonight. And it will remain 14 points, and it will remain a 4-point Marshall lead. Here's Bowling trying to go up strong. He is rejected by Brandon Watkins. And Watkins back the other way, and he's fouled and will go to the free throw line. So suddenly become a free throw shooting contest here for the Mountaineers.
I think Watkins had a layup. If he'd have reversed and gone the wrong way, he turned into the defense. Fortunately to get fouled. Nice block at the other end to get things started for West Virginia.
That block by Watkins representing the first miss for Marshall here from the floor in the second half, and now Watkins will shoot 2.
And once they got the block, they got the ball up the floor so quickly, it was tough for Marshall to recover, and Taylor fouling to prevent the layup.
An easy layup. Well, that was an easy 2, and now Watkins has got to fight to get 1 out of it.
Taylor now has 3 fouls, and we said earlier he's the one guy that they have to keep on the floor as much as possible.
4 points for Watkins. And now 5. Lead down to 3, 49-46. Bowling will catch and fire a 3-pointer off the mark. Boy, Brett Bowling not intimidated by the surrounding. The Pineville native coming in and firing up 2 quick shots.
He can shoot the basketball. He's not out there just to be there. he gets an open look, I think Danny wants him to shoot.
Watkins has it batted by Manning. Kept it alive. And here's Carter, the three-pointer, and will not hit anything. The air ball will give the ball back to Marshall with 9:25 remaining in the second half.
But Carter, you know, when he's got his rhythm, you know, he can knock the shot down. I think he rushes shots. He has such elevation and good awareness, but I think he rushes things, and he rushed that one just now.
So assistant Billy Hahn there giving him a little maintenance. And Johnson is going to be fouled going to the basket. Boy, suddenly it's become a very foul-filled game. The second half, not as crisp as the first half.
Almost as if everybody's trying to go too fast here defensively.
That's exactly right. Well, and you get a little tired now. You don't move your feet as much. Those reaching fouls show up, and the officials have been calling the tight all ball game. Again, as Frank said, if it gets into the bench with the foul trouble here, that's certainly a plus for West Virginia.
Johnson misses and gets his own lane violation there, as he knew right away he'd missed it. Sprung a little too early to try to get the rebound as J.P. Cambola checks back into the game, and Ryan Taylor will get a little break.
It won't be much of a break, although he's got those 3 fouls. I can't imagine that he'll be there longer than to get a drink and a quick breath and be back on.
This is a key point, too, because all of a sudden with him out, West Virginia's pressure could become even a little tighter and more effective.
A pass into Watkins, who was open but away from the ball. Gary Brown was run over. I believe it was on DaVinci Boykins. Oh no, it was on Cambola.
Good screen set by Brown inside, springing Watkins free.
Now they're going to look and see if perhaps that was a flagrant foul, as Cambola got that elbow up high on Gary Brown. So the officials will go over, take a look at the replay monitor. There they are across the way from our broadcast position.
Well, all of a sudden the flow of the game offensively is kind of falling off. Take a look here. It's Cambola up, crashing through the screen.
Well, I tell you, depends on the intent that the officials think that they saw there. Did he bring that arm up on purpose?
So they're taking a good long look at it. There's J.P. Cambola. Really provided a spark off the bench. 8 points, 3 rebounds, a couple block shots for Dan D'Antoni.
But the game, the way it's going right now, Frank, a stoppage in play like this, who do you think that benefits right now? You think it's Marshall or West Virginia?
I think it benefits West Virginia. Marshall was at its best when the game was kind of going back and forth, and there was a little bit of a flow, and guys were getting shots. Edmonds and Loop were getting shots in a high-paced opportunity, coming free, getting open looks. I'm not sure that the half-court mano-a-mano situation as it's kind of getting to now, and they're calling it a little tighter. I think that may benefit West Virginia.
Gary Brown, 69% free throw shooter. Hits the first. The lead is down to 2.
I think Danny has said he doesn't feel like he has a group right now that can go mano-a-mano with either. You know, they don't have the numbers, the experience. It's a rebuilding situation. He likes to get it up and down the floor.
Brown misses the second. Holton trying to track down the rebound, and it will be West Virginia basketball as it goes off Boykins.
You hate to overuse that word attack, but even he often says he wants his offense to attack even when they're being attacked defensively, and they certainly get attacked by WVU with the trap and the pressure, the double teams.
Inbound to Holton, fresh 35, under 9 minutes remaining. Lead is down to 2, was stretched to as high as 8 just a couple of minutes ago. .15 in the shot clock. Holton battling for position. Miles tried to get it to him, but Johnson able to steal. Now the run out is picked back off by Brown. So gives it away, takes it back, pulls up, and ties the game.
Boy, another costly turnover for Marshall. just got a turnover and gave it right back to West Virginia.
Yeah, not a good decision by Johnson on the turnover. Trying to throw the deep ball, get the easy basket, did not get enough under it.
You know, I used to hear coaches say all the time, the best time for your team to have a turnover is right after you get one. Marshall gets a big turnover and gives it right back to West Virginia. All this being done now with Staten on that bench. West Virginia's made this little run, albeit on the free throw line for the most part, and some good jump shots, but Staten's been on the foul line that time.
Well, that free throw ends an 8-0 West Virginia run. That's stretching nearly 3 minutes. Cameron Manning gives the Thundering Herd a 1-point lead again. There's Juwan Staten.
Sometimes you wonder if a coach wants quick shots or not. What was it Danny D'Antoni said today? He'd rather see a shot because you may have a chance to get the rebound back than a turnover, because the turnover goes quickly the other way.
You shoot it, it might go in.
That's right, and you might get the rebound.
Marshall back up by 2. Turnover will go back Marshall's way.
Well, tight quarters for 2 bigs in there trying to get a ball. Holton and Watkins really not on that same page. It was a tough situation.
Manning. Bowen. 3-pointer, no good. Rebound to Holton. Pushed up. Carter thought about the 3. Back to Phillip. Has the trailer in Brown, but now Brown doesn't want it. Will reset the offense.
Well, I know there's a lot of turnovers and near turnovers, but these 2 teams are working pretty hard on defense. It may look sloppy, but they're working pretty hard defensively.
Well, at the 1942 mark, first basket of the second half, the Mountaineers led 29-27. After Marshall tied it up, they have led or the game has been tied the entire rest of the way. 7:36 remaining here in the second half. And I would think that the longer Frank Marshall hangs around, the more their confidence is going to grow here.
Well, it's been the problem is it's been a while since they've had a field goal. They've had a couple of free throws by Manning to give them some points, but they haven't scored much lately. Their confidence was kind of coming when they were playing up tempo, getting the ball into the front court, shooting on the run. Warren mentioned the dunk earlier by Cambola. After that came a couple of jumpers in an up-tempo offense. But right now, D'Antoni's trying to also manage the game and negotiate things with some of his better players on the bench with foul trouble. Well, that changes what you do also.
Ryan Taylor's been out for quite a while. There will be a media timeout, I think, after the next dead ball.
That's right.
He's had an extended rest here. He'll come back in fresh for that last whatever time is left after that next timeout.
18 in the shot clock as the Mountaineers inbound. Get into their offense. Devin Williams is checked back in. He has the ball. Spins, jump hook, no good. Rebound, battled for, kept alive by Holton. Back up again, and Holton will be fouled, and he will go to the free throw line when we return with a chance to tie the game. The Marshall Thundering Herd leading West Virginia 51-49 here at the Charleston Civic Center.
We asked what random acts you would do if you won money from the West Virginia Lottery. Shaquan Taylor told us she would pay off her sister's college tuition. When Shaquan's idea was drawn, we were thrilled to help make it happen.
You won the Random Acts Lottery. What? Yeah. Oh my God. What if I don't take it?
What would your random act of lottery be if you won? Keep playing. You could make it real.
In the Big 12 Conference, when we say one true champion, we mean it. To determine our champion, we play each other twice every year.
With dynamic offenses against stifling defenses.
In front of thousands of passionate fans.
In college basketball's top venues.
Every game matters.
10 teams, 18 games.
One true champion.
After I played FanDuel the first time, I was hooked.
People are going crazy for these new one-week fantasy football leagues at FanDuel.com.
With FanDuel, there's no season-long commitment.
FanDuel lets you play in one-week fantasy football leagues for real money.
Assembling the ideal team on FanDuel is a blast.
Try FanDuel today, and we'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $200.
On FanDuel, I've won over $62,000.
Go to FanDuel.com now and click on the microphone to get up to $200 free. Enter promo code PumpFake1. That's promo code PumpFake1.
On an all-new edition of the Penguins in the Room, right winger Blake Como is mic'd up. Pascal Dupuis discusses his latest health scare and shares his family's reaction to the news and much more. A new In the Room debuts tomorrow after postgame on Root Sports. Well, it has not been the most rhythmic second half that we've seen here. A little choppy play, but if you're Marshall, Frank, I think you're probably happy right now. Dan D'Antoni up 2. Bob Huggins can't be thoroughly pleased with his team trailing the 21st ranked team in the country. There's Dan D'Antoni returning to his alma mater.
He's done a heck of a job this season despite the record and today. His team was heavy underdog coming into the game. Not many people gave him a chance. They've scratched, they claw, they play hard, they work hard, play good defense. He has to be happy with that.
Holton hits the first, has 8 points. And Marshall lead down to 1. Misses that one. But kept alive.
How many second chances has West Virginia been able to get?
And that's Javon Carter, and then the quick pass over to Devin Williams. He's fouled, and he will go to the free throw line to shoot a pair.
It's either been missed free throws and West Virginia able to get the offensive rebound, or there's been a scrum for the ball, and it ends up going off a Marshall player out of bounds.
West Virginia just 12 for 20 in the free throw line. Now 12 for 21.
Williams at the line for his second shot.
Some of those 1-and-1, so
exactly, yeah.
The Mountaineers were hitting their free throws. They might be enjoying a nice lead here. Instead, down by 1, and they remain down by 1. The rebound to Manning. Manning, boy, engulfed down low. And they're going to call a jump ball, possession arrow in favor of Marshall.
He had 3 players.
3 players around it. You know, it's one of those situations right there where if you're the Marshall player, if you can get that ball out, you don't get a layup at the other end. Trouble is that he's just trapped.
Tough to get it out of there.
Yeah, it is tough to get it, especially when 2 of the 3 guys are your big guys.
Yeah, and Manning only 6'4". Now here's Edmonds. Thought about it, and then missed it. Rebound, and boy, hard foul by Ryan Taylor.
That's a bad foul by Taylor. That's his fourth.
Yeah.
You know what Edmonds did just now? He took too long to shoot. He thought about it too long before he let it go. Catch it like he did the first half and let that ball go.
Yeah, his baskets earlier were coming out of the flow, getting the ball up the floor as well. That time it was more of a standing jumper. And you're right, that's Taylor sits for 2 or 3 minutes to try to preserve his foul situation. Then as soon as he comes back in, he picks up a tough 4th foul.
Just 12 of 22, 54.5% from the free throw line for West Virginia. Tariq Phillip trying to shake things off. Got quite a jolt there from Ryan Taylor. And Devin Williams being attended to as well.
You know, you have to wonder whether Staten might be having some discomfort with that knee. I mean, it's hard to believe that he would be on the bench this long. Now, your team is coming back and you're playing pretty well, but I just can't believe that Staten would not be a part of this if indeed he were totally healthy.
And Williams bandaged up. There's Devin Williams.
Well, the way West Virginia plays,
Juwan Staten.
A lot of their comebacks are kind of explosive comebacks.
Yes, they are.
This has been kind of an inch-by-inch comeback. Doing it at the free throw line.
Boy, the free throw woes continue. 12 for 23. And here are the Marshall players in foul trouble. Austin Loop, Jay Johnson, Ryan Taylor, all with 4. Sheck Sane and Tamer Manning with 3 each. And again, not a deep Marshall team without Sean Smith. Outstanding forward who's injured right now, can't play. And the West Virginia pressure forcing the turnover. Nope, they're going to say it's off. Deflected off one of the West Virginia players, so it'll be Marshall basketball.
Well, when you showed the first 3 guys with foul trouble, Those are three of the better scorers also. Take a look. Did somebody touch it?
Wow.
Batted out of bounds. Mountaineers may have gotten a call on that previous play. Sané handing off to Manning. Clear the timeline. Under 7 minutes remaining. Tied ball game.
Marshall looks tentative right now on the offensive end. They need to go back again in their attack mode.
Well, again, when they look like they're struggling, the one guy they go to, Taylor's not there. You don't have your shooter loop there either.
And with 2 on the shot clock, Devin Williams able to step in and draw the charge call on Cameron Manning.
It's a team that plays without that pure point guard, that floor leader that you go to, and that can cause you problems. And that's one of the things that Danny and his staff, they're having to negotiate all year, is trying to get minutes and playing time from guys who are not pure point guards.
And the 4th personal foul on Manning, joining Taylor and Loop and Johnson with 4 personal fouls for Marshall. And Sané with a near steal.
Yeah,
Bob Huggins wants a timeout.
Good call. West Virginia by Huggins. They were totally out of sync on that offense. Possessions are a premium now. You don't want to waste one.
I'm not happy with Devin Williams, it appears.
No, he's seen a lot of things that have made him unhappy. But you also mentioned, you know, West Virginia has some players, Warren, that I think we talked about Marshall's sort of lack of a pure point guard that they feel can be point guards in the future, but not that penetrator like Staten. The guys that can run the half-court set, but not that true point guard. So without Staten out there, maybe things getting a little out of sync in the half-court as well.
I agree. Boy, important. West Virginia, 6:07 left. They're down to 1 timeout. That could be crucial. I know Bob Huggins didn't want to use one just now, but he could see that the offense was in disarray, so he burns one to try to get. I look for him to run a set play out of this timeout.
3 timeouts remaining for Marshall, 1 for West Virginia. 15 on the shot clock and a tied game with 6:07 remaining between the Marshall Thundering Herd, who lost 5 in a row, and the 21st ranked West Virginia Mountaineers.
Rob, you make a great point too about, you know, you've got other guards out there, but it's not like having Staten there, who runs the show, runs the offense, and it doesn't look like, when you look at Staten on the bench, it doesn't look like he's even thinking about coming back in.
No towel around his neck there. No, he doesn't. He may have aggravated that knee injury.
Jostling inside, and there'll be a foul called against the Thundering Herd. That's Edmonds, and he picks up his 3rd personal foul.
This game often is one where they let them play a little more in the first half, and then it gets tighter in the second half. And we've seen that here.
Brown hits the first free throw. Mountaineers 14 for 25, just 56% from the free throw line. And Marshall, that foul trouble, well, if it goes into overtime, they're going to be in big trouble. And this is, by the way, West Virginia's first lead since the opening minute of the second half. Now that lead is up to 2, 53 to 51. Cambola will try the 3. It's no good. Sané soaring for the rebound. Comes down hard, crashing on his left knee. And they're going to get Tariq Phillip for a foul underneath.
Take a look at Sané going up. He's up there and comes down very awkwardly. Could have been worse.
Yeah, sometimes you hyperextend that knee when you land, all your weight's on it. Fortunately, he did not get hurt seriously there. May have tweaked it just a little bit. Sometimes initially that pain feels worse and then it's really nothing, but I've seen guys get hurt on plays like that.
Sané will bank home the first free throw. Boy, Phillip really found himself in a bad spot. He was waiting for the weak side rebound. Sané kind of soared in there and Not sure there was much Phillip could do as far as getting out of the way, but Sané now cuts it to 1. See if he tries to bank home the second one.
Bob Huggins would like to have a couple of banks right now. That's his team shooting.
Nope, this one will go unconventional.
You know, you see Marshall with some pressure. You wonder how much they would be putting some pressure on if Staten was in the game. Now, it's just token pressure, so it's not like it's full court heat.
Well, West Virginia's calling on Gary Brown to provide that leadership from the guard standpoint.
The one thing you do when you show that token pressure, there's only 25 seconds left in the shot clock when they got it into the half court, so not as much time to run the offense. Here's Brown for the 3, and Gary Brown, big three-pointer for the senior captain. Mountaineers lead is 3. And Sané will be fouled. I'm not sure who the foul was called on.
It was on Phillip. Phillip. That's his third.
Well, normally your big guy like Sané gets in trouble when he brings that ball down. He brought it down to the defenders that time. He's fortunate to get to the free throw line here.
Sané hits a 3rd consecutive free throw.
You know, you're exactly right there, Frank. When bigs bring it down, it usually cause trouble. But what happens in some cases, it entices guys to reach in, and if they don't get the ball, they pick up a foul, as Phillip did there.
And Sané, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Again, showing that token pressure. Make the Mountaineers chisel some time off the shot clock.
Now Luke's playing with 4 fouls. Who's playing Gary Brown right now?
Brown wants the team to reset the offense. Lead is 1, under 10 on the shot clock. Brown calling for the screen, moving to his left. In the corner, Phillip in trouble. Will try to desperately heave one up to Williams. Williams, the jump hook as the shot clock expires and it counts.
Marshall players quit playing. When they saw that shot, they quit playing. That's here.
Luke going to get a chance to shoot 3 free throws as he's fouled in the act of shooting that 3-pointer.
Well, that happens when you go after a shooter who's been left free a few times and your coach reminds you of that you've got to challenge the shot. That time, Horton got there a little late.
Well, you've got to challenge it, but you've got to take an angle so that you don't make any type of contact at all.
Luke, first missed free throw of the season for him. That had been 10 for 10.
Problem is the free throw line is too close for him.
Well, here comes Staten back in. I guess Bob Huggins liked the way the flow of the team that was on the floor.
Luke hits the second to cut the lead to 2. Staten into the game. He will check in for Tariq Phillip.
Since he's okay, are you surprised he sat so long?
Yes, I am.
I suppose okay could be relative too.
Right, that's true. Right.
And Luke hits 2 of 3. The lead is cut to 1, 58-57. Staten will allow Gary Brown to bring the ball up the floor. Approaching the 4-minute mark. West Virginia up 1.
You know, one thing good about Staten in the situation, he knows every position on the floor. You've got 2 guards in Carter and Brown out there. Staten knows all of the other positions.
8 on the shot clock. Staten dribbling in, leaves for Holton. Beautiful pass by Juwan Staten.
It didn't take long for him to make an impact. Did it off dribble penetration. And that was one of our keys early, was Marshall had to stop dribble penetration. Right. They've done that most of the game, but it's so tough to do with Staten.
Edmonds able to get it over the timeline. They wanted that ball quickly, was thinking about 3. Manning drives, tough lay-in, high off glass.
Not much you can do defensively. That shot's pretty well challenged.
That's a good college basketball play.
And Gary Brown trying to draw the foul call from Justin Edmonds. 12 on the shot clock now as Staten retreats once again. Being guarded by Loop. Three-pointer on the way, too strong, and Williams going to be called for the clear out underneath the offensive foul with 2:43 remaining. The West Virginia Mountaineers have taken a slim 1-point lead, up 60-59. The Charleston Civic Center, you're watching the Chesapeake Energy Capital Classic on Root Sports.
Appalachian Power can help you manage your energy usage. Did you know that saving up to 75% on your lighting cost is as easy as replacing your light bulbs? Or that setting your thermostat back when you're away can save as much as 10% a year on heating? Or that installing efficient shower heads can yield hot water savings of 25 to 60%? Take advantage of Appalachian Power's energy efficiency programs to save money and energy this winter. Find out more at appalachianpower.com/save.
During the Suddenlink Faster, Better, Easier Switch event, get internet 5 times faster than DSL. That outranks its competitors in speed and satisfaction, according to PC Mag. And get TV with free HD. Plus, access your Netflix account with TiVo from Suddenlink. Call 877-566-3401 today and enjoy 15 meg internet and TV together for only $59 a month. Plus, add phone for just $10 more a month. This way to get more for less. Only from Suddenlink.
And then Santa's worker zapped it right to our house. And that's how they got it here.
Cool.
The magic of the season is here at the Lexus December to Remember sales event. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Bottom right-hand portion of the screen, doesn't seem much doubt about that, does there, Warren?
No, that was a clear out. That was very easy. Anybody in the gym could have called that. Yeah.
Well, West Virginia has a 1-point lead. Showed you that Marshall has a lot of guys in foul trouble. How about West Virginia? Jay Sean Page, who's seen limited action because he got 4 early fouls. Devin Williams also has 4. Staten, Miles Jr., Holton, and Tariq Phillip all with 3 fouls each for West Virginia. Might be down to 2-on-2 here at some point.
Well, we've seen that happen before in this series, and it's amazing how different guys step up for both teams, and they have done so in the history of this series. And we've seen that today. Everybody plays.
Well, Frank, the game we did, Brandon Watkins last year, his only career double-double was here in this game. Now Sheck Sané to the free throw line.
Boy, has he been huge here in the second half, hitting these free throws.
4 for 4 from the free throw line.
Only a 60% shooter as well.
First one too strong. Trying to tie the game up with 2:43 remaining. Second one is good. Game is tied, 60-60, 2:43 remaining. Thundering Herd again showing a little token pressure.
Frank, are you surprised Taylor's on the bench at this point?
Well, 2:30 to play is not a lot of time. You're right, but the way this game has gone, it could drag a while. And so I think Danny, as long as the score is tied, as long as it's tied, he may try and buy a few more minutes.
Staten pull up, tough shot. Juwan Staten, the long 2-pointer. The Mountaineers up by 2.
Yeah, if he makes that shot, what do you do? Because you're going to play off of him a little bit to stop the dribble drive. If he's making that shot, he's very tough to defend.
Luke, 3-pointer. Caught the front of the rim, the back of the rim, and out. And Cambola is going to be called for his second personal foul over the back.
It looked like West Virginia was in the little 2-3 zone that time down. Yeah,
But
another
Cambola.
pretty easy call. Good position inside.
And that three-pointer by Luke was right on target, just a hair short.
Well, that may be the tired legs a little bit, Big.
Sure.
We talked about how that happens in the second half. You go against a lot of pressure. There's a deep three. Legs maybe a little tired.
Holton hits the first.
And now he comes back with Taylor. Danny comes back with Taylor now that the lead is 3. Well, when you have 4 fouls and you sit a while, how tough is it not to pick up that fifth foul? Because you're not really in the flow of the game.
Holton hits them both. Taylor, by the way, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Typically strong floor game for him. Well, they tried to get Edmonds going to the basket, but he was spotting up for 3. Little miscommunication there. Might have been an open layup, but he's gone to the basket.
Boy, Gary Brown on Taylor. Taylor with a huge size advantage.
Manning trying to dump it down, and it's batted away by Holton. Coming over in front of Sané with 7 on the shot clock and 1:28 on the game clock. Mentioned that they began the second half 8 for 8, 1 for 7 from the floor since they've gone cold. Here's Taylor, shot clock winding down, tough shot, and they're going to get the block call on Devin Williams. And for Williams, that will be his 5th personal foul.
He was trying to draw the 5th on Taylor. Take a look at it here.
Devin Williams moving, definitely a block.
The 2 players with 4 personals going at each other, and both coaches kind of holding their breath a little bit.
So Devin Williams fouls out.
Well, you got a relatively inexperienced Watkins and Macon on the bench. It'll be interesting to see which way Bob Huggins decides to go. Adrian has the most experience of the bigs on the bench, so we'll have to see how he decides he's going to go. Yes, it will be Nate Adrian.
Williams fouls out with 5 points and 3 rebounds, so it's a guy with 11 double-doubles as a sophomore in his young career. And 15 points and 15 rebounds in a game earlier this season, but just 5 and 3 here today. So he fouls out. Ryan Taylor goes to the free throw line. Taylor has hit all 6 of his free throw attempts. Now 6 for 7.
His earlier attempts kind of came in the flow of the game. He's been sitting a while now here in this second half. Been very spotty because of the foul trouble in and out.
Well, and the pressure of shooting him, the basket begins to shrink on you with some.
And misses them both. Adrian with a rebound, and there's going to be a foul underneath, and it's going to be on Cameron Manning. And for Manning, that will be his 5th personal foul.
That was also Marshall's number 32. Manning, personal number 5.
Well, as a coach, sometimes there are certain sequences you remember. Those 2 misses, I think Danny will remember those tonight. Don't you think? Chance to cut it to 2.
So Vinci Boykins will check in for Cameron Manning. And Nathan Adrian will go to the free throw line. And a round and out for Nathan Adrian. And neither team can convert their free throws here late, and the Mountaineers really, really struggling from the free throw line.
I think both these coaches have seen some things that they did want to see. I mean, Danny D'Antoni said his team would be better just for playing this game. Bob Huggins has seen his team play a long time in the second half without Jawan Staten.
And Adrian's going to be called for the foul, and I'm not sure that's the foul Bob Huggins wants. He wants the aggressive defense, but when you're 48 feet from the basket, Big, that's a tough one to take.
Well, you're up 5, and this is definitely a block right there. That is, yeah, that's one where the clock is stopped. Marshall gets a chance to get a couple of points. Minute 14 left without the clock running.
First free throw attempts of the night for Edmonds. It's the first. 14 points for Justin Edmonds.
And he had the reach and the block.
Yes.
Edmonds, a transfer from Owens Community College, had to sit out last year with a torn ACL. So, and we talked about some rusty players for both teams trying to find their rhythm. He hits them both. Well, he has a game-high 15.
He can be a scorer. He had that reputation and just has had to sit for so long. Has battled back and overcome a lot of adversity.
And now a one-possession game with those two free throws.
West Virginia spreading the floor. Probably will run the shot clock down and let Jamon Staten try to create something maybe with a high ball screen.
And Edmonds has to be careful, trying not to foul.
7 on the shot clock. Staten trying to turn the corner, has it blocked by Sané, who came up with it. And now Edmonds looking to push the other way. He'll slow up, wait for some help. 35 seconds remaining here. 3-point game. Taylor putting it on the floor, spinning into the middle. Difficult shot. Sané with a rebound. He'll be fouled on the reach-in by Adrian. And Sheck Sané. A couple of big plays down the stretch.
That tough shot by Taylor right here. Good hustle by Sané to get in there.
Yeah, Sané not only with the block on the other end. Usually when you make the block, you do not come up with the ball. He got the block and the ball. And now he hits the offensive glass here.
After missing 2 straight free throws, he answers with 1 here.
You see the philosophy of Dan Antonio. A lot of guys would have called timeout right there. He let his ball club play during the flow of the ball game. He still has 3 timeouts left.
1 remaining for West Virginia, 27 seconds left. 2-point game. That one's too strong, and Carter taps to himself. And now Taylor fouls Holton, and that will be it for Ryan Taylor. Dan D'Antoni comes out and says, hey, relax, come have a seat. We don't want you to get a technical here.
They don't want to make it worse.
No, nothing you can do about it has been called. The frustration, yes, it's there, but you certainly don't want to cost your team a couple free throws in the ball.
And the offense, even though he's a forward, the offense really flows through him. Certainly. So when you're down 2 points late, Holton going to the line, tough to lose a player of Ryan Taylor's caliber. Johnson will go to the free throw line here. Or Holton, I beg your pardon. 13 points for Jonathan Holton. 3-point lead for the Mountaineers. Brandon Watkins checks in for Nathan Adrian, defensive purposes. Carter says, hey, I want you down to the other end of the floor guarding the rim.
And Marshall has their 2 shooters on the wings.
Well, a big free throw for Holton to make it a 2-possession game. And inbound to Cambola. Trouble to Vinci Boykins. Boykins out to Edmonds. 3-pointer on the way. It's good for Justin Edmonds. Timeout called. 1-point game. 15.6 remaining.
Oh, my.
The big shot by Edmonds, who's hit some big ones today. And also a good job by Boykins to get the ball up. They didn't really have anybody to get the ball up the floor. Boykins got it. Took it upon himself to not take a bad shot off the penetration, but continued to look for the shooter. Edmonds had to leave the corner because it was guarded, and he floated out to the wing and found himself open.
18 points for Justin Edmonds, leading all scorers. Talked about how sometimes you get names you wouldn't expect. Stepping forward, Justin Edmonds came in averaging 3.8 points per game, Frank. He has 18 in the game tonight.
Well, in the last 3 games, he played well against South Carolina. And the Penn State game, he's just getting himself back in shape, and he's played really well here tonight. I mean, Danny D'Antoni may be finding another weapon here that he wasn't sure he was going to have at the start of the year.
So now, if you're Bob Huggins, 15.6 seconds remaining. Full timeout called here by Dan D'Antoni. I'm sure the first thing you remind your team, Bake, is that you have have a timeout left if you get into trouble.
If you can't get it in, yes.
And the first thing you want to do is make sure you get the ball in safely here.
Get the ball in safely and preferably to your free throw shooters. Right now, the way Holton has been shooting free throws, he might be a good option because he's a tall guy and you have trouble getting it in. You can toss up and let him get it. If he gets fouled immediately, then he's been shooting the ball well from the line.
Like you made the great point 12 seconds ago with 27 seconds left that Marshall had 3 timeouts remaining. And you may think, well, they got him with 27 seconds left. What's the big deal? Well, this is the big deal. With the way they pressure and you get trapped, no matter what the situation, they can rely on a timeout if they need one.
A 4-guard offense in for West Virginia right now.
Well, much of the crowd here.
Everybody's standing.
The Charleston Civic Center on their feet. Brown inbounds to Staten. Well, somebody's got to foul him. Sané trying to step up and do that. Well, Staten almost lost the handle and now finally is fouled with 7.3 seconds remaining. Let's see who gets the foul. All kinds of players out on the floor with 4 fouls for Marshall.
That may be Edmonds. No, it's on Sané.
Well, they certainly didn't want it on Edmonds because if Staten hits them both, Marshall will probably need to think about a 3-point shot, down 3 with 7.3 seconds remaining. Staten will shoot 2. Senior hits the first. 68-66.
Well, and again, it'll probably fall on DeVince Boykins to get the ball up the floor for Marshall.
Loop and Edmonds down on this end of the floor, the 2 best 3-point shooters. Staten hits them both. They get it to Boykins. Boykins running up the floor, looking. Cambola will try the 3-pointer on the way, short at the buzzer. And West Virginia hangs on to defeat the Thundering Herd 69-66.
Well, it may look like the wrong guy took the shot here, but he was the best option. Well, it may look like the wrong guy took the shot here, but he was the best option.
Well, yeah, he really didn't have a choice.
And he's not a bad perimeter shooter. D'Antoni is never upset to see him shoot the ball, really, but he was the only option at that point.
Well, 31% shooter from 3-point range in this open offense that likes to get good shots, and Cambola got a pretty decent look at it, and West Virginia hangs on to win. Well, we talked about it at the top, Frank. Throw out the records, despite what you think. This is going to be a close game, and it was here again. We'll get your thoughts in a moment. First, let's hear from head coach Bob Huggins with Robbie and Zbikowski.
Yeah, what a crazy game, Bob. You end up coming up on top, winning the ball game by 3 points. How do you describe the back-and-forth nature of this game?
And from Marshall University, Justin Edmonds.
They played great. They made a lot of shots and really did a good job of spreading us out. I mean, obviously, when you can't make a free throw or you can't make an open shot, it makes the game pretty hard.
What was the difference down the stretch? You found yourself trailing by 8, but slowly chipped away and barely hung on to a lead. What kind of resiliency did your guys show?
I thought Gary Brown was really good for us. I thought Gary really kind of settled us down and made a couple big shots for us. Javon Carter finally made a couple shots, got the lid off for us.
The Chesapeake Energy
you can't miss that many free throws. I mean, you can't miss that many free throws, that many good shots.
Down the stretch run, Juwan Staten didn't play many minutes, but then he came in and was a difference maker in the last 2.5 or 3 minutes. Why is that?
Who's that?
Juwan Staten.